It is Tuesday night, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for the fastest growing live streaming wrestling podcast on the internet. Folks, it is Tooney Talk Wrestling, episode number 7. I am Marvin, and I am the Movie Monster, and I am joined here by an all-star panel. Folks, standing right here with me, back by popular demand, and believe it or not, black by popular demand, is our good friend, Awful Wrestling.
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
There we go. By popular demand only, though.
Right.
And of course, folks, coming to us with promised us a tiny tank top today on Twitter, but showed up in a muscle shirt that is, practically, squeezing the circulation out of him. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Kevin Apollo.
Going on, everybody?
I don't know, Awful just kind of left. But and our special guest this week from the world of wrestling soup, ladies and gentlemen, it is Anthony Missionary Thomas, aka Mish. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on,
Welcome
everybody?
back to the show, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Love it here.
Super glad to have you back. You were one of our first big guests, and one of the first ones where I was like, okay, we gotta get him back like ASAP. So here you are.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
With the Piston Honda profile pic here tonight.
Yeah. It's one of the things
I recognize it. I'm a Nintendo guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Get your super chats in early so we can get to you. We can read you guys aloud on the air. I think we got a couple came in already, so I'm gonna take a quick look. There's our buddy John JID 999. What does AEW need to do in terms of marketing themselves to wrestling fans / normal everyday people just to draw more eyeballs to AEW as a thing? Oh, man, that's a loaded question to start us off with right off the bat. Man, starting off with AEW and what do they do in terms of marketing themselves to wrestling fans? Oh, my gosh. I mean, I would say maybe they need to start I guess that's not really. Hold on. Awful's back. Awful, welcome back. Are you there? All right. Hopefully he's there. I can't tell.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, well, yeah, welcome back, buddy. It's okay. This isn't here yet either. But the what does AEW have to do in terms of marketing? Kev, what do you think about this?
Let's start with putting some wrestlers on the show.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Listen, it is what it is. Wrestling is an aesthetic business.
Right.
90% of your credibility as a wrestler is your physical appearance. You don't have to be good at it. You just got to be serviceable. My go-to is Lex Luger, one of the biggest stars of all time. Could not wrestle for shit and couldn't talk the entire beginning of his career. But wherever he went, he carried himself like a star, and he was money. We got a guy like Miro. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You put him in there with the right people, and he looks like a star. Like you put Lex Luger in there with Ric Flair, and we fooled enough people into thinking that he was the next Hulk Hogan.
Yep. What was the last time Miro was on TV?
I don't even remember.
What happened to Keith Lee? Where is Scorpio Sky? Is he alive? Has anybody seen him? The list goes on and on and on and on. Instead of focusing on lame shit like the Best Friends, let's get some actual wrestling storylines in there. Tone down the language. Stop bleeding everywhere. Blood doesn't mean as much when you do it every week.
Yes.
And, listen, it always comes down to episodic television. We need they have 4,000 belts, right, on these shows. I can't even pretend to tell you who
everybody's got a belt.
Everybody's got a belt. It's like the Oprah card.
By the way, Miro is injured, I believe, but Tony didn't know that. Okay. So Tony not booking him had nothing to do with him being injured.
All right, so if I take it back, but you have 4,000. You have just as many people on your roster as you have titles.
Right,
and you've got 3
Everybody
shows.
Gets a belt. It's like it's like a participation trophy.
Yep. To me, it's like, well, why are the only stories that I can follow? They involve the Best Friends. They involve Willow. They involve the Bucks, and there's nothing remotely compelling. Give me wrestlers beating shit of each other for either personal beef or for one of your 7 million titles, and we can start.
That's the thing. I think you got to start going by the numbers, because subjective opinion being what it is, objective reality is dictated by numbers. And you can look at the quarter-hour breakdowns on these shows and see who loses the viewers. People tune out for Riho, people tune out for the Bucks, people tune out. That's especially the Bucks, and they're like the main attraction right now.
Yeah, yeah, and the Bucks have equaled ratings exodus for a minimum of 2.5, almost 3 years. It's there. We see it. We have the data points. The elite in general. Any member of the elite, especially when they're together, they pop up on TV and the ratings are going to crash. It doesn't matter what's going on. So,
right. Mish, what do you got to say about this?
Go ahead, Mish.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, Awful. Go ahead. You started up, so go ahead.
They need to really they're pretty good in their digital media as far as promotion, marketing. They've got to get better with their local media. They've got to attack wherever stadium they're having Dynamite in or Collision in. They've got to really attack that town. They've got to paper the town, as they used to say, and they've got to get people willing to go into those seats, because that's the first thing. The product on the screen is gonna only take you so far. You've got to have a stadium that looks filled first and foremost. You've got to sell tickets to this thing. So that's my thoughts.
And as Cornette always said, you got to get them fresh young baby faces out there to start fucking. That's how you draw the women in. They got to start fucking. unleash the thrill seekers on Louisville, Kentucky.
Do they have any thrill seeker types in AEW? I mean,
gosh, I don't think they've got do they have any hot throb baby faces? I don't know.
No.
I mean, no.
Yeah.
Mish, what do you got about this?
So John specifically was talking about the marketing of AEW. I mean, there's a lot they can do with the marketing. You don't see a lot of promotion unless it's coming from Tony Khan's Twitter. The wrestlers here and there I'll see random social media tweets or Instagrams where they're talking about it. And obviously there's a large fan base that follows AEW and that talks about it and does post shows after Dynamite and Rampage, etc. But for the most part, you don't see AEW being taken seriously like WWE or even dare say TNA does. I will see TNA commercials still to this day randomly on like a Pluto or, like random streaming services. I don't see AEW marketing at all. I don't see any commercials for it. Rarely do you see anything promoting the PLEs. I think, if you want to talk about in terms of marketing, how about have a marketing team? Like, I don't think they have anything. It really does feel bare bones. And I don't know if that's because of the inexperience of Tony Khan or if that's the inexperience of the team that he's hired around him. But man,
you got to think that Fulham and the Jaguars have got marketing teams. He knows how to market events. This is not like a new thing for him. Live sports and whatnot.
It's the over reliance on social media, and you see this a lot on the indies and across all entertainment now. The fact of the matter is, unless you are some kind of major legacy brand, whatever you put up there is white noise. Yeah. So you're only talking to the people who exist inside of your bubble, if they're even really paying attention, right? Because I know Dynamite comes on Wednesdays. So that's all I need to know. If Dynamite was in my town, well, I watch Dynamite, so I would automatically know it. And listen, it always comes down to this: if you want to reform what is the AEW brand? Other than we fight with
wrestling, pro wrestling.
Yeah. So
anti-WWE,
the safest company in the world.
We're the best wrestle.
Yeah, it's really generic. You're right, man. It's like they need an identity. They don't have that identity. And like you were bringing up earlier, Apollo, that's because they don't have storylines. They don't have storylines that people go back to and go, wow, man, this company is amazing. You don't see that. And a lot of the times, the fans that are echoing the sentiments of what's happening on TV, it's like you said, episodic, but in the same way that a sitcom is episodic instead of week to week. This is like watching Alf every week. It's like, that whatever problem is going to happen, Alf is going to eat a cat, and that's the end of the show. So
right. And then next week we do it all over again.
Alf was the number one show, though.
Well, yeah, it worked.
Elf
then.
had better spots.
But also it's kind of like the like when they have someone that could generate interest, a CM Punk coming in, a Mercedes Moné coming in, they don't like let people know beforehand. The Mercedes Moné thing was completely hidden, and he kind of had this mentality of, oh, everybody already knows that it's going to happen because of all the hints that I've dropped. Yes, your fans know. The people that need to know in your fan base know. But what about new fans? There's no attempt to draw new people in. There's just an attempt to maintain the people they already have.
Right.
Yeah.
And listen, they have that mentality of you have to do your homework. And that's the antithesis of generating a fan base.
Right.
I need to know who this Japanese wrestler is, or I don't care. I have no emotional buy-in. You know,
the average fan is not going to Google that name or Google these people.
Right.
I don't have
Remember O'Shea Jackson Jr. when he was like, I don't know who this guy is, and every time I ask, the AEW fans yell at me. And Tony himself was like, you might find some enjoyment out of looking this up. That's ridiculous.
So silly.
All right. Our next super chat here from Miss Shalmond Lee Warner, a great friend of the channel who I believe makes up somewhere between 25 and 50% of my female fan base. She says, hey lads, love these panels. Do you think Tony and or the Elite will use the Flair restaurant incident for attention? I do not think so at all. I don't even think Flair's even still technically with the company. And believe me, we got to go into this Ric Flair. There's so much Ric Flair to cover tonight. Like tonight is kind of Flair cast, and I'm kind of here for it. Like, because he is just, it is just been incredible the last couple of days with Ric Flair stuff. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to talk. But no, I don't think they'll even mention it on AEW TV. I think that's the kind of thing that they're going to want to avoid. He has not been seen since Sting's retirement, which makes me think that maybe Tony just kind of cut his losses on that, or stuck to, well, it was always said that Ric Flair was just there for the duration of Sting's retirement. And I don't know, maybe they're actually sticking to their guns on this one. Maybe he's gone. Kev, do you think he's gone?
I don't think he's gone. I mean, they're getting all that money from Woo Energy.
Right.
So,
that's true.
You know, they just haven't needed him. You know, Ric Flair went back into the toy box with all the rest of the toys. The new shiny wrestler, 2 weeks later, we don't see you again for 8 to 15 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, it can be that long. You know, now that he's gone off and gotten himself in trouble, I'm sure it'll be an additional 15 weeks before we see Ric Flair.
Gosh.
You know,
he'll be in that same suit.
Yeah. Ric Flair,
his rapper suits. When did that start? When did the rapper suits start?
That started when they made the Ric Flair drip song.
When he's got the do-rag.
These rappers keep coming up to me and they're like, Ric Flair, how can I get your drip? And I'm like, just don't get your prostate checked. You drip all over the place.
Oh God.
Woo!
I think they should. I honestly think they should utilize this Ric Flair thing. I mean, there's a lot of holes in the way that AEW does things, but the one thing that they do have, the one constant that they do have, is that the diehard fan base eats everything up. Mm-hmm. And if the diehard fan base is the diehard IWC crowd, then why wouldn't you address a thing that is being talked about all over the place in those basements and underbellies of wrestling society? Like AEW could be more endearing if they kind of let themselves in on the joke sometimes.
Right. Awful. What were you trying to add?
Do you really want that 70-year-old man? Do you really want that 70-year-old man to be representative of your company after showing that video that we're probably going to see? I mean, come on now, you don't.
We are going. Oh
yes. Oh
yeah. No, we are going to show that video of just the belligerently drunk Ric Flair. Just like, you know what? We might as well talk about this now. Because so Flair goes on social media and he was like, I spent $1,500 at this pizza place. And right away, I'm like, wow, how did you do that? How did you spend $1,500 on pizza? Well, you clearly and
$1,500.
Yeah, that's just
yes. We got the answer. It was I had to give it to the pizza place so my ex-wife couldn't get it. He clearly just drank the bar dry. And then he's like, I just spent too long in the bathroom. And that's why they were like, get out. And I'm like, no. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, something's weird here. And then we get the story from the gentleman, I guess, who is one of the managers of the establishment, who is like, listen, this guy came in, he got belligerently drunk. He wooed in the face of a blind grandma and threw furniture across the room. And I'm like, there it is. That's the Nate that I know.
Right.
I mean, that's
the description he gave to the cops.
Yeah, man. This is what you get with Ric Flair now. He did the same crap to Mark Madden when Mark Madden was running his show. I guess I don't know if it's true or not, but I guess Conrad's now done with him. Like,
yes, that was another thing I wanted to point out. Yeah. Conrad Thompson, the biggest Ric Flair super fan on earth, the man who has bought more used worn clothing items than an OnlyFans addict from this man.
His son-in-law.
Literally,
is
literally now his son-in-law. Okay. He was like, I will never do a podcast with Ric Flair again. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you are not listening to Woo Nation with the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Oh my God. Like how like they say never meet your heroes. Maybe also never marry into your hero's family. But how bad must he be for this man who simped for him and believe me, no one simped for Ric Flair harder in their life than, well, yes, Conrad Thompson did, but than me. I was such a huge Flair fan. And man, oh man, just see it. Like, I'm just like, man, I would want him to lose my number if I were friends with him. Like the way he texted in like capitalizing the first. I'm like, how do you capitalize the first letter of every word? That's just weird. Like the way he tweets is insane. But for Conrad to be like, I'm done. I am done with this. And to be fair, Conrad has probably done 3 Ric Flair podcasts. A decades old friendship between Flair and Mark Madden, the guy who co-wrote his autobiography.
Oh, that was so sad. Did you follow that closely? Mark Madden isn't always the greatest guy in the world. I know that there's a lot of.
I'm entertained by Mark Madden. I like.
I love Mark Madden. I think he's funny as hell. But watching that podcast, listening to that podcast, you could tell that Mark was leading him around just to get him to talk. And it was, I mean, anybody in radio can see who's actually pulling the strings in that one. Mark was doing everything in his human power, in his experience, to make Rick entertaining. Because he'd ask him questions like, oh, well, what did you think of Roman Reigns? Oh, well, yeah, he's a good guy. Like, that's not the answer people want to hear. They want to hear, well, what do you know about Roman Reigns? What did you think of his physique or his family, et cetera, et cetera? And so it was always impressive to me to watch Mark Madden try to pull these answers, like pulling teeth out of Ric Flair. And when everything broke down, this was after the, what was it, the E60 or the E30? Gosh, 30 for 30 or whatever it was.
And
the 30 for 30 on ESPN.
Oh, that was the most depressing thing ever. Him talking about being on the verge of death because of his alcoholism, and then
at the end when he was like, and I'm still drinking. I love to drink. Glug, glug, glug.
And I mean, dude, it was like there was a point where I'm like, come on, Rick, you can do this. You can come back from all this crap. I'm like, just because you're at the high end of your life doesn't mean it's over. And he made me believe, like a silly little Mark, that this guy was going to change his ways and do well by his daughter, do well by his daughters, and I don't know, maybe be that grandfather or something like that. And sure enough, the Mark Madden stuff hit. And then he went over to Conrad and he shit talked the crap out of, Mark Madden and everybody else. And now he's falling off the wagon yet agagen.
He turned on Bischoff again until recently he was praising Bischoff again. So I guess it's just when Ric Flair wakes up, the gods flip a coin to decide if he's going to just be drunk or belligerently angry, violent drunk.
He tagged in Captain Morgan, and that's what happened. When you tag in Captain
Johnny
Morgan.
Johnny Walker, take the hot tag
for the hot tag, right?
He thinks it's Magnum. Plenty of pixel art. $5 says it really feels like AEW thinks it's our fault we aren't watching. They aren't trying anything new because they can't see the forest for the trees. That's 100%.
That's a beautiful
true.
statement.
Yeah, that is a true statement. True words would never.
Why aren't you watching?
And JPS, who Kevin and I love the fact that he's got the N7 on his profile picture.
Huge pop.
Oh, Mish, you're a Mass Effect guy too? You're a fellow
absolutely.
Spectre?
All of them.
Oh, there we go.
Even Andromeda.
Yeah, you know what? There's
Thank
some
you.
enjoyment to be had. It's kind of like Star Trek the video game.
Ooh,
But-
yeah.
I don't know. I just if the game had just worked, like if it just we're getting into
There was a lot of fixes. I mean, just a sidebar for a second. There was a lot of bug fixes and mods that made Andromeda much better. If you need a list, I can hit you up sometime.
I mean, I tried to play it again like a couple months ago, and I was like, this still looks horrible.
You know, if Andromeda suffered the same fate that Dragon Age 2 did, if they had just delivered the basic amount of DLC they promised, everybody would have forgiven it.
Yep.
Right.
But you don't actually get to finish the story, and you know there's a giant chunk missing. So and you're forced to kind of deal with all these bugs, and you're like, well, what the F did I just do this all for?
Well, do you guys think that it was because of the way Mass Effect 3 ended that people still had a bad taste in their mouth?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
When Casey Hudson locked himself in a room and was like, I'm going to write this with no input. Great. So all my choices but come down to what color is on the screen.
Right.
We're getting on a tirade. There will be a podcast for us to talk about this, folks, and it's not this one. But JPS $2, thank you so much for the super chat. Says wooings is a legitimate thing, and yes, I know it is. Apparently, wooings is it's not like a certain type of wings. You can call a local wing place that is participating in wooings, and they just kind of take wings and put them in a wooings box and deliver them to you.
Wait, what?
Woo!
They're
That's what I
outsourcing
was
their
told.
chicken wings.
That's what I was told. It's just not like a specific brand of wings.
It's not even like a seasoning or anything.
I don't think so. I think it's just the box. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. I just heard it from a friend, and I was like, I believe that. From one of Ric Flair's latest things. Producer AEW Neckbeard popping in says, "Get your super chats in early." Thank you, AEW Neckbeard.
Love Neckbeard.
JBS says Mass Effect Andromeda is worth playing for the side quest that has possible hints at the next Mass Effect. Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, Mass Effect aside, we're still talking about Flair. Remember the first Ric Flair super chat? I don't remember if that was Woo Nation or if that or what. I think that was Woo Nation. And it was him and Conrad. It was Conrad's first show. And they were still doing the Steve Austin show, Talk is Jericho format, where every week was a different guest. But instead of Ric Flair interviewing the guest, Conrad would interview the guest and Flair. And I remember they had Shawn Michaels on. And Shawn was like, "What the hell is this? What is this, Jack? You just got this fat guy interviewing the both of us? And you put your name on it?" And he's saying this on the air. But the best thing about it was they had Brett on, and Brett's on there, and he's like, yeah, Rick, Rick's great, and I love Rick. And Conrad's like, "Really, Brett? Because that's interesting. Because in your book, you said that Ric Flair is the most overrated," and he calls him on everything. And he's like, "How about you explain that one, Brett?" And Flair's like, "Oh, it's okay. I love him. He's so great." And Conrad's like, "No, I'm mad for you." Well, I can't say that I was wrong because I'm physically incapable of saying I'm wrong. But yeah, no.
It was Monday. I was just sitting there, and sometimes you just kind of feel a certain kind of way, and you got to express yourself. And I hate Shawn Michaels.
Well, I don't really hate Shawn. Some days I don't hate Shawn as much, but you know who does suck? That motherfucker, Bill Goldberg, eh? Fuck you, Bill Goldberg.
He ruined my career, he did. Yep.
He ruined my career. He hit my kids. He fucked my wife.
He killed my brother.
Kicked my dog.
Kicked my dog. God, I think he stole my car once.
I hate him so much that I got to say his full name every time I mention him, Bill Goldberg.
I don't know who Goldberg is, but I do know who Bill Goldberg is. And
he's a piece of garbage. Okay, but like, so when I first started showing Mrs. Movie Monster wrestling, we were watching like documentaries because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to show a full shows first. We're going to show some documentaries. So we got to Survivor Series '97, and I'm sitting, and I don't say anything. Okay, I just sit there and let her form her own opinions. So I'm sitting there and I'm like watching her watch it, and she like points at Brett and she just goes, "That guy's a whiny bitch." And I'm like, yes, Brett, screw Brett. I was like, I've chosen correctly in life. I found a good one. I texted Apollo and I was like, victory.
But did she say that Ric Flair seemed like a good time?
Good Lord. I would, you know what? If this were 20 years ago, I would let her ride Space Mountain.
Oh man, I don't know.
I was that big of a fan
on that fucking ride.
No comment.
That big of a fan.
Yeah, that's 20 years is still a little too far out.
Oh yeah,
I'll
that's
see
right.
You in the chat, Marv.
His retirement was 16 years ago, I believe. Somebody was like, "Oh, you know what? Like he retired. It's over. He should just be done with it." And I was like, he had the perfect retirement 16 years ago. The most perfect retirement that a wrestler has ever had. Ever.
Yeah.
They dedicated an entire episode of Raw to him. They didn't even do that for Shawn.
Nope.
The entire roster. The Undertaker came out and genuflected before him.
They didn't even tell Kurt Angle goodbye.
Right.
Yeah, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle got the Mickey James treatment. They put his stuff in a garbage bag and was like, "Get out." Now we're gonna send the guy that beat you to NXT.
Kurt Angle. Oh my God.
Ric Flair is a guy who's been given many chances, has been given many flowers, if you will, and he just keeps pissing on him. He just keeps pissing on him. And I don't know. Okay, I think he's going to be like this till the very end, you know. So.
I got to tell you guys a story, though. I remember I said something about like when Flair's last match was coming up, I made a tweet where I was like, shame on everyone involved with this. Like this old man is not in his right frame of mind. He's a belligerent drunk, and he's going to go out there and he's going to hurt himself and he's going to have a heart attack. And Conrad Thompson himself yelled at me and was like, "Oh, so you know better than the man and his doctors. I'm muting you now for the next week." And I was like, okay, that's the only interaction you and I are ever going to have. But then Flair comes out the other day. He's in an interview and he's like, "Yeah, I had a heart attack in the ring during that match." And I'm like, what?
Gotcha.
I think Conrad Thompson owes me an apology. I couldn't find the tweet. I don't know if it was maybe on the Tooney Con account or whatnot, but I remember it definitely happened.
We had a friend, Pat, working that event, Ric Flair's last match. And he was working in the back and he was, part of the show. And he was coming on the show right after Ric Flair's last match when we did a post-soup. And he was talking about Ric Flair being fine and in good accolades, just out of breath and stuff. Like at no point, at least at that time, because I think myself or either Joey brought it up, like, did the guy have a heart attack? Because if you remember the match, it really was pretty painful to watch Ric Flair out there in that weird blue shirt. Trying to wrestle.
Purple. It was all purple.
It was purple by the end. But yeah, at no point did anybody say that he needed like this extra medical care or anything else like that. So it's weird that just came up recently that he said he suffered an entire heart attack in the middle of the show. So,
yeah, I don't know whether I can believe it or not. I mean, look, he's definitely not Hogan. He's not like the things that he says usually actually happened. But like, I don't know. I can't tell if I believe that he had a heart attack in the ring and just no sold it, which is like, I don't think so. This is the first time in my career I'm not selling something. I'm hulking up right now. I'm stealing Terry's move. I don't
kick
think
out of a heart attack.
He
just kicks out. Like,
he's telling everybody now because he's mad at Conrad. That's why that little gem dropped.
Yeah. So maybe like I couldn't tell if like there was heat between the two of them. Now Conrad swears there's no heat between them, but just that he doesn't want to do a podcast with him again.
Right.
God,
right.
I can't imagine.
That's enough to create heat for him.
Yeah. He lives in his own world, guys.
If I were to give Ric Flair any, like, if a person like me could give Ric Flair any advice as my favorite wrestler of all time, I would say, stop drinking, get into recovery, and for the love of God, sign a damn prenup next time.
No, I love
Because
I love,
no,
I
this
love, and I love losing all my money because I love women in booze, and losing all my money to women because of booze.
He really is the Phil Collins of wrestling. I swear.
oh my God. It's like when Paul McCartney got married and Howard Stern was like, how did you not get a prenup?
Yeah, Phil Collins got divorced. What was it, 3-4 times? No prenup for any of them.
Yeah, any of them.
Insane. If you fellas and ladies, if you have money, get a prenup, because there are ladies out there there are male gold diggers out there. Ladies, protect yourselves. Carry mace and get a prenup.
Go to John Cena Sr., the greatest lawyer of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That man protected his son's assets with the power of the son.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena Sr. took care of that boy. He was like, listen, my son is going to be something, and you are not getting anything from it.
You spent how much on the house? And you turned around and said, who? I've got it.
Did you ever watch the show when he was doing Total Divas?
Yes. I talk all the time. John Cena is a soldier.
Did you ever see the contract that he made women sign? He actually had like 100-page contract that if a woman was going to stay over at his house, he would make them fill it out.
Yeah.
And Nikki said that she had to sign a huge contract to live there.
I believe it. I believe it.
He Derek Jetered them. And listen, at that point, why not?
Is that what Derek Jeter does?
Oh, yeah,
my God.
If you were blessed if you were blessed with spending time with the captain, you signed an NDA and a very lengthy contract. Didn't matter who you were.
I have no comment on any of this. My wife is listening.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Awful. I promise you we're not corrupting your husband. He's corrupting us.
Yes.
Okay. Jokage 13, $5 says, I understand that Flair is a legend, but the dude comes off as arrogant, insecure, and belligerent. My opinion of him is only soured over time. Yeah, I mean, look, if the last time we ever saw him was walking away at the end of WrestleMania 23 and then the Raw the next night, it would have been the most perfect thing ever. And then he went to TNA, he went to that Australian tour with Hogan, and we all know what happened.
Right.
Let's see. Eastside Review says on that night Marvin got his lady knocked up. Close. Yeah. He's like, come here, you. The second you said Brett screwed Brett. Brett screwed Brett, and I screw you.
Come here.
But Alejandro Melendez, $4.99, says, did any of you see AEW Twitter last night after Punk made his choker artist reference? Holy shit, the delusion.
Oh, God.
Okay, the fact that he said it and no one responded to it, they're like, Punk in the mud. I'm like, no. Because when they make a Punk reference, there's a huge response, but nobody there knows what you're doing.
This is CM Punk. You have activated my trap card. Guillotine. While I hold you in a mental front chancery, you will be compelled to discuss me for the next 72 hours while I laugh at you.
Oh my God. I am obsessed now with the idea that CM Punk is the wrestling version of Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm so glad I got the reference.
He made the joke, made sure McAfee put it over, and then just went in the back and looked at his phone and is probably still laughing hysterically while these freakazoids lose their fucking minds.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't go to sleep last night until 2:30. I just stopped myself either laughing at these people or being like, what is wrong with you? That's it. The gloves are off to war. Like, he doesn't know you. He doesn't care about you.
No.
And he just knows how to drop those gems.
Media. He's trolling everyone on social media. He's forwarding his storyline with Drew. Drew is forwarding it right back. I really do like this new turn of events with Drew and CM Punk.
Oh, it's a great feud. It's a
watch.
great storyline they got going there.
Dude, even last night, I was saying, I think I was talking with Joe or somebody else. I'm like, man, the production on Raw was amazing. That long shot from when Drew left CM Punk pulling up with Pierce there, and then they're back and forth, and the camera's on him the whole time, going through the curtain, going through the back, going down the ramp, like the whole time. It was like that one long Goodfellas shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're trying new things. They are definitely trying to, maybe not getting kayfabe back, but definitely getting people engrossed into the way the shows are. It doesn't seem so uniform, formulaic anymore. It seems like they're trying new things.
There's artistry there now. There's an artistic eye behind the camera now, and not a deluded, bitter, angry, beaver-toothed moron who checked out sometime around WrestleMania 6.
Right.
Like, you know, a guy who hated wrestling, but it was the only business that he could possibly be in. And I'm talking about Kevin Dunn here, obviously.
Oh yeah,
of course. Insecure little douchebag.
They gave him way too much power, man. I think that was the biggest
money.
problem with Kevin Dunn. Well, the money is one thing. The money comes when you deserve it. And I don't think Kevin Dunn, when they started collapsing parts of the company and giving him all these different hats to wear as like the management over like 5 different divisions of WWE, I think that's when it became ridiculous and everything really kind of became very bland, very milquetoast. And I think that's what WWE needs now. They need that new outside perspective, whether it's coming from guys like Nick Khan or if it's coming from the top with Ari Emanuel and their people. That's what they need. They need to not just freshen up the idea of the talent and the storylines, but damn, we've been watching the same show for the last 30 years. Can we change it?
Time to switch it up.
Right.
You know what? We should probably watch this Ric Flair video of him in the pizza parlor just being drunk and belligerent.
Please.
So hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, hold on one second. I mean, look, this was without a doubt just one of the most embarrassing things, you know, a wrestler could go through. And you got to always assume nowadays, especially when you're a famous person, that you're being filmed by somebody at some point. Now that everybody has a camera on them at all times, you're always being filmed. Okay, sharing screen. Okay, so we'll get to that. Here we go. Here we go.
Well, I've been there wrong.
I've been there wrong. Listen, you listen to me, Mr. Bartender Man. I've been there wrong. Except spend money and put this place over and bring my family that will still talk to me, which is no one, and my friends who will still talk to me, which is Tony Khan, here.
And put this place over and bring my family and friends here. That is bad for you.
That is bad for you, man. That's going to be bad for you. I got drip, and I did it all in the bathroom when I was in there for too long. Oh, my God. He's slurring his words.
Oh, he's awful. He's he's
beyond toasted, right?
Is he mixing his medications in there too? Like, Jesus.
Good Lord.
Well, watch social media tomorrow.
Oh, you just watch what I'm going to do, brother. This isn't going to make me look like a belligerent, angry drunk. This is going to be bad for you.
I told you he sucks. Look, he can't even eat pizza.
He just eats pizza with the same bites every time.
It's
Well, you better.
Well, you better watch it.
What's your name, Job?
What's your name, Job? What's your name, Job? My name, Job, is Ric Flair Wrestler.
That's awesome. I'm going to use that in everyday conversation. What's your name, Job?
What's your name, Job?
Nicholas what? Nicholas Dickhead.
Yeah, take that. That's the razor sharp wit that cut my forehead for 40 years. Woo!
Don't ever talk. You don't have to talk.
Don't ever talk. Period. That's just just don't ever talk.
But that's it. That's all I got.
Did you guys see this weird interaction with him and Dolph Ziggler at like a convention when he walks by Dolph's booth and he's like, "That's him. That's the guy that fucked my wife before I married her." I was like, "Really?"
Ric Flair dropping gems.
You don't have to do this to me. If you live in my family.
If you live in my family, then you don't, because you're talking to me right now and they don't. But even my fat son-in-law
Can I ask you
who
a
buys my
question?
underpants.
How
Yeah, go ahead.
long until somebody calls up Diamond Dallas Page to come get Ric Flair?
Ooh,
I don't
good
think
question.
he'd go. He wouldn't go. He
No?
doesn't think he has a problem. That last
Yeah, that's
WWE
right.
produced
You're right.
documentary on him, he
Well,
is
no,
very
he does know
clear.
he has a problem because he admitted it on that E30 or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he's
then in the WWE documentary on Peacock that he did, he was like, "Yeah, I almost died because of drinking, but I'm still drinking. It's okay.
Right.
I just do it better now."
He thinks his claim to fame now is drinking.
He's not a wrestler. He's a drinker. He's a
Yeah.
professional drinker, everybody.
That's my name job, Ric Flair, alcoholic.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you're a kid high cost. Really?
He says he said you cursed at my assistant manager. He goes, now you got cuffed in, really? What world do you live?
What world do you live in? How did that cost him?
That is the drunkest sounding human being I've ever. How did I cost him?
Mm.
Did I touch him?
Did I touch you? Because I have to keep it. I have to keep track now because it keeps coming back to hurt me.
Wearing the same suit that he wore at Revolution.
Were you ever a flight attendant going in Europe? Because if you were, then you a bitch and you shouldn't have talked.
Why, you have that video too?
I didn't say one cuss word.
I didn't say one cuss word, dickhead.
So delusional.
Mm.
I think someone's trying to get him to leave. Someone was like, "Let's go."
Yeah,
look
the
at
guy
these
next,
guys. The guys
the
next
guy
to him
next
are
to
just
the
like
bar.
watching this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, in fact, the one guy at the far end, he's just like, "You want to go?"
I think I said tell you more toward the end.
No, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you $1,000 tip just to say to him, kiss my ass.
Well, there's a cuss
I'm
word.
gonna give you.
Oh, I would,
listen,
and I'd give him 500. I'd be like, "Here you go."
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, "Hey, all right, I'll take that grand kiss my ass." Okay, cool.
Isn't it common though when you have a bar that there should be somebody around, like maybe a bouncer or somebody to
At a
oversee
pizza
this?
place though, like this is a pizza place with a bar. Like I've never seen a bouncer outside a pizza place.
It's probably 11 o'clock in the morning. Like,
Right.
Oh, God.
I was just
Oh,
about
wow.
to say, like, you're
Okay.
doing
It's the
like
lunch buffet.
yeah,
they've been open
the
for 20
day
minutes.
drinking.
Jesus, yeah, you guys are right.
You walk outside here. I know. You're disrespecting me.
And he dressed his best.
Tell me to leave.
Oh man.
Oh, I cut off in a front. Really?
Oh, I cut off go run really. I'm gonna go on Twitter. I'm gonna write about this, and I'm gonna capitalize the first letter of every word, and you will be so sorry.
Do you think he
I'm
gets
writing a book.
embarrassed? Do you think he gets embarrassed watching himself
No.
like a day later?
No,
You know,
Who shows him that
Probably at
footage?
1 o'clock
Who
in the
shows it to
morning.
him?
Kev, what are you saying?
I was like, probably at 1 o'clock in the morning when he's in between belligerent drunk states. You know, and it's sad, but like, listen, the guy has one of the absolute worst addictions you could have, right?
Oh, yeah.
It poisons the mind, and it's just we're just watching this human being just destroy himself, and you know he's burned every bridge. You know, yes, he knew he had a problem when he had someone in his life who was willing to tell him that he had a problem, and then what did he do? He divorced her.
Right.
Right, and you know, like 5 times, and they got rid of Arn. Like I don't think him and Arn talk anymore.
No.
I'm pretty sure that ship sailed. Him and Arn Anderson.
Mm.
You know, I don't
Imagine
know.
Imagine accomplishing all the things that he's done, only to end up at a Sam's Pizza, you know, wherever the hell he's at, being drunk at 12:03 in the
I
afternoon.
know.
That's crazy.
I know.
Well, what's even more embarrassing is he has his daughter who's doing amazing things in wrestling. And I know he had that time with her when he was with like Lacey Evans and stuff, and there was that oversee moment. But you would think that his daughter wouldn't be so embarrassed that she couldn't get him a Legends deal working for WWE.
Oh, look, his best friend is Triple H. Like, you know, like Triple H loves him like a father.
Are we sure about that?
Well, I mean, look, I don't think Triple H. Tripp and Sean love that man. I think that if anyone's going to get him the help he needs, it's them.
Again, you can only try. You can only try, and
yeah,
if he doesn't
horse the water and whatnot.
Man, I'd like to see DDP try. I'm telling you. I know people are like he won't go and stuff like that, but I'd like to see DDP at least make a video going. I went to his door. I knocked. What the fuck you want me to do?
Look, if DDP can fix Jake, then DDP can fix anybody.
He can fix anybody, exactly. I put my trust in DDP as far as rehabilitation.
He's fixing Butterbean as we speak.
Right.
Like
nice.
Give yourself $1,000 tip. Just give it to yourself.
Is he good for it?
Because I just realized that I just paid my alimony, and it's $80,000 a week. So I don't have $1,000 tip for you. What? What? I didn't see that part before. I didn't know that part was there. Listen, Pharaoh, let my people go.
Yeah. Free these bartenders.
The Scorpion King is here. I just want to go home.
I just want to go home. I just want to go home.
That drunk, calling out Egyptians from the Bible drunk. I've never been that.
God. You want to talk to me about how to behave when what you guys did to all those Jews back all that time ago? Oh, no. You know, you got it. You got what was coming to you then. You know, with the waters and the shocks, but like and the plagues. I'm gonna bring
this
plague.
Poor kid is probably Irish. Like, you know, Nicholas is an Irish guy. You know,
you who served me pizza, how have you come to hate me so? He just starts singing Prince of Egypt music. Thus saith the Lord.
I'll say it again. You're a dipshit.
Oh, he's a dipshit.
Well, I'm leaving. Then
Egyptian was great.
Egyptian.
Come on inside here and talk.
There will be a tweet tomorrow that says Egyptians are dipshits.
Oh God! With every letter capitalized.
Of course.
I don't like to walk like them because they're dipshits.
you have the pussy. You have the pussy. Because you have the pussy because your people revere cats as if they were gods. See, I know. I went to 6th grade history class. I know social studies. Oh, look at this guy! You want to go out and talk with me in the parking lot? He's like, what?
The Ricky Steamboat of the bar.
Yep. Steve Steamboat over here. Steve Boat over here is like he's gonna rip off all his clothes like Steamboat did.
Yeah, he's had enough of this.
What's that?
What did you just say to me? I'm legitimately asking. I got the cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
I am genuinely surprised more people don't try to beat Rick's ass in public.
They know who he is. They know what his legacy is. It's not like you don't really touch that guy. He's a
Do you really want to be the guy who beat the shit out of a 70-something-year-old?
No, you're right.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
All right.
Oh my goodness! Holy crap!
Just adding to the Ric Flair legacy. Woo.
Yeah.
Guys, look, this was bad. It is nowhere near the most embarrassing thing that a 16-time world champion has ever
你还有
done.
中国就是叫西呢，
Probably.
我爱更尊重中国更中国人，我很抱歉对我的错误，对不起，我很抱歉，你必须。
That's my favorite clip of all time.
So your time is now. I gotta apologize to the Chinese, and I gotta do it now.
Yeah. Imagine learning Mandarin just to apologize to an entire country.
Just bow before
Just the late President Z.
to bow before the throne of President Pooh Bear.
Right?
Oh my God.
Did you say?
Christopher Torres. My favorite Survivor Series was definitely 1993. Bobby the Brain Heenan was an absolute riot on commentary that night. Memories. I gotta go back and watch that one. Oh God. East Side Reviews checking in. Y'all notice that AEW references get no reaction from WWE crowds. Show how little the average WWE fan knows or cares about AEW. That's exactly it.
Sure.
It's just they have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They think it's 3 letters in an alphabet. That's all. That's all there is to it.
Oh, God.
AEW. Oh, yeah, I know those letters.
It's gonna be something we're watching on Peacock in 10 years. That's all.
Yep.
Christopher Torres, thank you so much. Says Ric Flair, alcohol and Father Time clearly don't mix. Kenneth Douglas says, thank you so much. Says, what's your name, Job? Sounds like something he would say to a jobber before you go over. How you gonna squash them? Great show as always. Keep it up. What's your name, Job? What?
Yeah. What you say to me, enhancement talent?
That's when you're being cordial. I called you enhancement talent.
Yeah.
Eastside Reviews, $2. Thank you so much. Says minimum wage ain't worth it. Just quit, Nicholas.
Right? That $1,000.
Has it been enough time where that might be Nicholas, the young boy that Braun Strowman kidnapped from the crowd at WrestleMania to win the tag team titles with? That kid, by the way, if that kid wants a WWE contract, I guarantee you he gets it.
Oh, yeah.
When he's of age.
They'll put him through the practice. You know what I mean?
Oh,
if
he's
he's got
Zach
it or not.
Allen run or something. Come on.
Totally title.
Yeah.
I want to bring in a one-legged kid and kick his ass.
Oh,
What's that?
how exactly am I supposed to do that? There's gotta be at least one. You're gonna find me a cripple, and you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it right now in 5 minutes.
I brought him, Vince, but everyone said it was this young guy. He's like really old and out of shape. You brought me the wrong cripple. Oh God.
What do you know about one-legged wrestlers?
Eastside Reviews says we all know if this were Teddy Long and Ron Simmons and Tony Atlas, the cops would have been called instantly. But I don't think any of them would have actually done this.
Yes.
I think the worst you got to worry about with Tony Atlas is he's going to start weirdly like singing Amazing Grace.
Yeah,
Like, in the middle of your restaurant.
Waitress's feet.
Spirituals start guessing on women's shoe sizes.
Yeah.
Tony Atlas be talking about girls' feet and stuff.
Yeah. Masked Hat, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, what is everybody's reaction to Tanga Loa showing up in WWE TV? I mean, I was thrilled. I was thrilled. I was shocked.
Camacho came back. How awesome is that?
Yeah, Camacho's back. That's good for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
That's
It was incredible. And the fact that no one knew, the fact that like New Japan never even announced that he was like not with them anymore.
Right. Yeah, I was disappointed. I thought he resigned. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
man, I'm not going to get my Gorillas of Destiny versus the Usos while we're doing this. Like but good. You know what?
Well,
good for the WWE. They show you again. If people can keep their mouth shut, they will surprise you.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, but isn't
sure.
is he still signed with New Japan?
No,
I'm pretty sure he's
Okay.
done.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
now
interesting.
after the fact, Dave Meltzer has got all this information. this it took like many months of planning. Yeah, thanks, Dave. I could have told you that too. Yeah,
Right,
after the fact. Captain Hindsight, the hero of the modern age. Come on. But yeah, I think we're just building and building toward that War Games match, and it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, they're doing
Somebody
a great
said-
job as far as building up that whole thing. I mean, I enjoy it. I don't know too much about the Tanga, but that I think that's the beauty of it. I don't have to know too much about him. Let's see how he does in WWE.
Dude,
All you have to know is that he's the son of Haku. That's the only thing that you need
really,
to know.
Yeah, there's no storyline put forward yet. I think that's kind of what they're doing is we're still in this, as far as, the story goes, we're in this mystery phase of trying to figure out what's going on, who he is, what the relation is between him and Solo and Paul and Roman. So I think this is part of the developing story that they'll probably explain on SmackDown or over the next few months. So.
That's the beauty of it, right? We're sitting down, we're watching right now. All this new stuff is happening, but the story is really about Solo, right?
Right.
Paul Heyman is, and I was going to say too about Solo. Heyman, it has masterful face work. He can tell a story with just the twitch of an eyebrow. And now you're seeing Solo do it. And like just even watching the tag match, you can see like Solo has come into his own. Like he's hit that rhythm. Like he's comfortable with what he's doing. And the brilliance of the story is like if you look at like a good fella, Godfather 2 and 3, right? Especially Godfather 3. We're watching this character, right? And he was supposed to, eventually, he would have probably, taken control of the family, given enough time. But they brought him in, and he was the henchman. He's the goon.
The bruiser.
No one expected him to get it that fast. And now, while Roman is gone, this guy's taken over, and Paul is legitimately terrified of him. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to handle it. He can't get a hold of Roman. He doesn't know what to do. All he knows is I have to do what Solo says, or I might get killed, like poor Jimmy.
Right.
You get to the pay-per-view, and they walk past Jay, and Jay's like, "What the fuck is this?" And Paul goes, I don't know.
Send help. Call someone.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Heyman was on the 911 call going, the color is orange. The color is orange.
Well, I love when he took his phone out and he was like, call Roman. And then like Solo just took the phone out of his hands.
Yep.
Right.
And I was like, oh, somebody made the greatest analogy about this is that when they compared it to the Lion King. And they said that Heyman is Zazu. And with the first half of the bloodline with Roman, it was Zazu with Mufasa. Now Zazu is with Scar. And he's basically in that like rib cage thing singing, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, steedily dee.
Right. No, that's a good point. I mean, Paul Heyman is the linchpin to the success of the bloodline. And I think it's very important for the second version of Bloodline, or I should say technically third version of Bloodline, to kind of flourish, but they need to start adding in more onion layers to this storyline. It's simple and it's easy for a lot of people to believe that Solo is perhaps abusing his power now that all the cats are away. But at the same point, there needs to be some kind of a comeuppance. There needs to be some kind of a closure. And with Jimmy and Jay, I don't know if you guys see it, but as much positivity as Jay is getting from the crowds, story-wise, I feel like he's kind of lost. He feels like a stomp and clap babyface, which is fine to bring in merch. People want the Yeet merchandise and stuff like that, and that's fine and dandy. But I feel like the progression of the bloodline involving Jay and Jimmy seems very lost.
I'm going to say something that people are going to be mad.
I'm sorry, but you can see the trust that's going on with the entire bloodline story, the bloodline storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hold off Jay Uso for a little bit. As long as he's factored into the bloodline storyline properly, which is the thing that WWE that I've earned, they've earned my trust on that. They'll make it work sometime down the road. Right now, they're trying to heat up Jey Uso, especially after France, and make him more of a star, so that when he does enter into the storyline fully, he'll have some weight to it.
I hope
Right.
so. I hope so.
I think that Jey Uso is not over. Yeet is over. It's the yes thing all over again.
Oh,
But
Fandango
the
style.
difference is that Daniel Bryan eventually got over because he was such a good wrestler. But the only reason anyone cared was because they liked pointing at the sky and saying yes. It was a fun thing that the audience got to do. They like Yeet. Yes, Kevin.
I'll push back on that a little bit because you got to remember the
How dare you?
impetus for the Bloodline storyline was Jey Uso. It was Jey Uso.
That's
this
true.
all started because Roman said, "I'm here. I'm in charge," and everybody else fell in line except for Jey.
Right.
And then it was only because Roman choked out Jimmy that Jey joined the Bloodline, that Jey fell in line. And while the story is growing and progressing, every time Roman speaks, right, he christens Jey main event Jey. He's the number one man. Everything was about how Jey was eventually going to be turned into a megastar. You have the luxury of not stepping on the gas with Jey right now because he is hot. Yes, your yes is Yeet over as hell. Could they have probably given it to anybody else? But does Yeet become as popular as it is without Jey? Jey is over.
All right. It's a valid point. That is a valid point.
Over. And as we march towards whatever we're going to do with the story, this story is about kingmaking right now. The only person who's kind of out in the cold right now is Jimmy because, he's not Jey and he's not Roman. But when this is done, it's gonna. They have so many options right now. Like, listen, the beautiful thing about like King of the Ring, depending on how far you went to it, was the King of the Ring was essentially the signal that we have faith in you and we're going to put the rocket on you, or we're getting you prepped to put the rocket on you. The WWE right now has an embarrassment of riches. They have too many super over baby faces, not enough super over heels, but a lot of main eventers. A lot of main eventers. You could 5 guys could get hurt tomorrow, and there's 6 guys you can slide up into that slot, and it'll only take about 2 weeks to get everybody to accept what's going on. Jey is in a good spot because as long as he stays over and as long as he keeps having decent matches, like his match on Saturday was pretty good. Yes, he throws a lot of super kicks, but selling and registering, storytelling.
I hated that match. I hated that match.
I'm with you, Marv.
It's convincing. It gets the job done. He's going to eventually need a breakout feud. He's gonna need a strong antagonist to get him to the other side. Who's that going to be? I don't know. That's where things going to be interesting in terms of where we decide to go with the Bloodline story. Yes, it's fairly obvious at this point. We will eventually find out that I'm going to assume it's going to be The Rock, right? Yeah. Solo is taking orders from the High Chief, not the Tribal Chief.
Right.
Because everybody forgets.
But now does Solo, when Heyman eventually gets laid out, does Solo eventually get a wise man?
I don't know. Well, I was saying, I can't remember what I was talking to. I was sad. The only thing I'm sad about is that there is no counter to Heyman. Like, it sucks that Stokely is trapped in AEW because he would have been a fantastic counter.
I disagree. I think MVP could do a fantastic job against Heyman. I just don't know what the hell MVP is doing.
It should
MVP is so talented. It is amazing how impressive he made Bobby Lashley and Alexander and Benjamin together. He was such a great, just a great manager overall because he got involved. He was a great shit talker. He looked the part. He always came out styling. Like, I don't know what happened to MVP, but he was like the next big manager in my eyes in WWE. And after the Omos thing, he's just kind of disappeared.
And I don't know if that's just if it's a Hunter, it's like a Hunter versus Vince thing where it's like, well, this is my guy, this is what I want. I don't know. I don't get it because if it was up to me, MVP would be on TV every week.
Oh yeah,
I would definitely not have Solo in with any sort of manager. You want to have that chaos versus order dynamic. You want to have Paul Heyman be the person that is bringing the order and ultimately the I guess the upper hand on the Solo, on the Solo team. So that's why I think I don't believe Solo needs a manager or anything like that.
Didn't you kind of think that it worked with like Umaga and Armando Estrada? Like you could still have that chaos element, but Armando Estrada, even back in the day, was fantastic as his handler. It was great. And I think you could still do that psychotic, chaotic element with Solo Sikoa while having a manager or a handler type presence, man.
Hear me out, guys. Solo brings out his wise man. I'll tell you, this Solo Sikoa, he's the greatest thing that's ever happened. He's so tough, he can strap a bucket of fried. No!
That was going to be my next point. I love Wrestling Cemetery.
Yes.
Effing bring out James Cornette as the manager of the New Bloodline.
Wow.
We are resolving a storyline that got started some 45 years ago when Paul dangerously kicked the shit out of Cornette, Stan Lane, and Bobby Eaton with the original Midnights.
Wow.
And they had a War Games about it.
Yeah.
Like how much money are you gonna need to back up into Jim Cornette's backyard to get him?
I don't
do
think there's
such a
ellering
thing?
I don't know. They got Paul Ellering out of mothballs. They could probably get Jim.
Yeah, no, but Jim probably makes more money doing his podcast than anything else. He's also a hot, a lightning rod for controversy, and he refuses to fly anywhere anymore. So, and I don't blame him. There are doors falling off of airplanes. I don't want to fly anymore. But all right, super chats
about Boeing.
These deaf tubes. Gokai Silva, $5. Thank you so much. Says, what's worse is the same crowd knows nothing about AEW. Here's about TNA. Exclaims, "Oh, I love Moose." I do love Moose. Moose is fun. He's a great champion.
Yeah, he's a star. He looks like a star.
Yeah.
Yep.
WWE needs to Joseph J. Alexander. Thank you so much. Says, WWE needs to shell out the money for No Name Tim's God theme song. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to take your word for it.
Japan theme song.
This is why we need Awful here. Awful would know.
The Gorilla
Christopher
Destiny song.
Right.
Christopher Torres says, let's be honest here. We're actually watching Ric Flair become Randy the Ram Robinson in real life. I hope not. I really hope not.
Well, I remember when Ric Flair first joined up with AEW, the idea was that he was supposed to be doing matches with Sting at some point. And other than during the retirement of kind of getting involved, we didn't see any of that. So I was kind of happy that those rumors or whatever fell on deaf ears, because I can kind of see that Ric Flair would potentially still want another match. He's even brought it up on his show with Conrad that even though he did his Ric Flair's last match, he was even talking about having more of them. And it's like, well, that kind of defeats the point of having a last anything if you start making it an annual tradition. So
just picture though, he starts saying the fried chicken line and Triple H just dives in for no. The book of the Dark. Your amount and message will be public. I have no idea what that means. It sounds ominous. I hope it's not a threat. If that is, it was made in public. But yeah, no, it just God, the promos would be legendary between the two of them. They always have been, but I mean, we've been seeing Heyman do the best work of his career. One thing I got to see at ROH, they did a promo with Bobby Heenan and Jim Cornette, where Cornette brings him out and he's like, I love this man, this Bobby the Brain Heenan. He's the greatest manager of all time. And this Bobby the Brain, he is so great. But you know what? He ain't going anywhere, folks. He's the pinnacle of health. He's beating cancer. He's blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, it just very subtly starts turning and turning and turning about how Bobby Heenan won't step away. And he's like, and so, God damn it, why the hell won't you just die already so I can be the best? And it was amazing. It was just amazing.
I'm sure Heenan loved it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did. Bobby Heenan was in like a leather suit that night at ROH too. It was weird. They ended up doing a match where Heenan managed one guy and Cornette managed another guy, and they fought each other, and it was good.
Nice.
It was a good storyline. I liked it. Gabe did a good job on that one. Christopher Torres, thank you so much. Says Jay versus Jimmy at WrestleMania was just awful in my opinion.
Yes.
In the immortal words of USA Pro Wrestling promoter Frank Goodman, aka the Masked Mania. Whoa, oh my goodness. I'd rather
back.
put my beep in a blender than watch this. Oh my goodness. The Masked Maniac getting a shout out here. That's
that brother
not
was
heard in a long
cuts.
Oh my goodness. That's such a deep cut. Ric Flair's bleeding.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The Usos are not getting a rewatch at a WrestleMania. That match is definitely not getting a rewatch.
Arguably the worst wrestling match in the entire WrestleMania card.
Oh, now okay,
easily
that
the worst
particular
match of
card,
that
but not in all. Yeah, right, definitely.
Oh yeah, the worst. What do you think is the worst WrestleMania match of all time? I still gotta go. Goldberg and Brock at 20.
Oh, that was
not any
awesome.
of the battle royals.
Oh God.
No.
Well, we're counting everything post like WrestleMania 12, right? Because WrestleMania 8, 9, and 10 have the most fucking matches imaginable.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. El Gigante and the Undertaker, or what did they call him again? Giant Gonzalez.
Oh, what about Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole?
That was a bad one.
Ding, 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 ding.
Poor Jerry.
Yeah.
Vince versus Brett.
Vince versus Brett was awful.
Yeah.
So I have a friend who works for Lloyd's of London, and they got the phone call to insure Brett like 3 months before the WWE announced it. And their doctors were like, no way on God's green earth would this man ever be cleared to do anything aside from cross the street. And we don't even think he can do that.
It's all because of that Bill Goldberg.
That son of a bitch, Bill Goldberg. I just stand there at the crosswalk and I wait. Sometimes it counts and sometimes it makes noises. Sometimes I get confused. And then, the lady pops up and then it goes green. And then I start walking and I go, if it wasn't for that son of a bitch, Bill Goldberg, I would have jogged. That's what I would have done. I would have jogged.
I would have jogged, but Bill Goldberg kicked me in the head. I don't know. Goldberg finally this year was like, I am done apologizing for this.
Yeah.
I can only apologize for so long. Just stop it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure Brett. It's not like Brett to hold a grudge.
No.
Yeah, right. My favorite wrestler.
Oh, I love
how you guys just besmirch him.
It's okay. It's okay, awful. You still have Grace Randolph to be a fan of.
Yes, indeed. Wow.
Oh my God. I didn't watch it, but we're gonna talk about it. What do you think?
What do you guys? You guys don't like her 40-minute breakdown of the Wolverine Deadpool movie trailer?
Oh my God! Yes, folks. Awful wrestling liked at one point Grace Randolph, and we do not let him forget it.
Yeah, never will.
Listen.
All right, so
16 years ago, I can see it.
How about 5?
All right, so do we want to go through this Backlash card?
Definitely.
Maybe give our thoughts on this. Okay, hold on one second.
Sure.
Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
I've got a lot to say about one particular match.
Oh well, I'm looking forward to hearing that.
I mean, if it's about Tiffany Stratton, I'm with you, buddy. It's just
all right. The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga, with Paul Heyman defeated Kevin Owens and Randy Orton by pinfall. I liked this one. I thought it was a solid opener. I like that they turned it into a street fight.
Yes.
Oh, hold on one second. I have to do an intervention here. John JID says, "Who the fuck is Grace Randolph?" Don't look it up. You will be so much happier. You'll be so much happier in your life if you just never know.
On.
I have to protect him. He's a good man. He's here on all of our live streams. He does super chats. I can't let him go walk into that lion's den. Don't do it.
You don't have to look it up. Okay, so I won't say anything. Gotcha.
By the way, am I too sleep deprived with just disembodied sunglasses next to my? That is the ghost of Roddy Piper. He haunts me constantly. Oh, I never jobbed to Hogan. See what I mean? He's everywhere.
They really got to you, Marv. That's great. I love it.
Fuck Hogan. I'm terrified of ghosts, guys. Oh God. It's a new character for the show. It's the ghost of Roddy Piper. I'm convinced, by the way, I am convinced that he didn't actually die. He just kind of like, because it was right after Hogan dropped the N-bomb and Hulkamania was finally dead. And I've always maintained that he's just been like, my job here is done. And he just kind of turned to dust and like flew away.
Hulkamania has finally been defeated. Yeah. My time here is done.
On to Epstein Island, where I can rest and relax.
Oh, no.
Oh, don't you say that about Roddy Piper. That was uncalled for.
Oh, poor Roddy.
Just turned into a fireball and left.
I also firmly believe that he also might be a Time Lord, and he might have regenerated into Ronda Rousey.
I just figured he escaped on one of those ships from They Live. You know, it's just.
There you go.
Nice. You know, I fought the Highlander.
You know, have you ever listened to his daughter, Teal?
Yes.
She's an amazing promo. Like, she has daddy's chops, and it's wild.
She's a worker?
She's not on TV. Yeah, for a while.
I didn't know she.
Oh, good for her.
I told her, you can't job. This is how you make your living. You'll go in there and you'll fight.
Never go on
Plenty of Pixel says $5 more because that one single joke made a bad day a fantastic one. I'm dying. I don't know which joke was it. Was it which Piper joke was it?
The Grace Randolph.
John JID said, "What do you all think about the soft ground wrestling?" I've not heard about.
Do you know what this?
Oh, you haven't seen that? Oh, it's awful.
No. Mish, should you do it, or should you tell them about it?
I don't have the video. I wish I could post the video, but it was circling around, of course, in social media, right? And it was this. I want to say it was in Africa.
Oh,
and it was like these giant mud pits that they had guys, I guess, talent, working in the middle of it, and they were literally like about 2 feet in the actual mud, and there was like this one white guy shouting horrible epithets at another dude, and it was just all over the place and fucking crazy. Yeah, I don't think
I like how Mish is being very moderate with it.
Yeah.
It's
all right, what exactly?
How he's being
awful.
What very middle of the road.
Is this something I should show?
Okay, imagine a field with wild grass growing, okay? And then there's a ring that's made out of sea rope, I guess, anchor rope, and it's a bunch of Africans that pretty much do professional wrestling on a dirt ground. You know, something that you would see in a backyard wrestling, but they do it in a field, and they actually have it's a popular little thing that's going on X.
You take every banned Looney Tunes cartoon that involved Africans, and you throw a wrestling ring in the middle of it.
No!
Oh yeah, it's bad, dude. It's a little rough. It's a little fucking rough. Like, I remember when we used to watch on social media every once in a while, you'd see like Indian kids from India having like back alley wrestling matches on. They'd use doors instead of tables, and they'd have a trampoline with only 3 springs.
Oh boy!
And they would come out as like these awful versions of their favorite wrestlers, and that still doesn't hold a candle to how wild this. Yeah. What did he call it? Soft mud wrestling. Soft
ground wrestling.
Yeah. Getting DDT'd on concrete is the way to go out there in the some of the third world countries.
Hold on, I found it. I found it.
It's called out Will Ospreay.
I found it.
Challenge Will Ospreay.
Okay, hold on one second. I think I found it here.
No problem.
I'll wait.
Oh my God! Here we go.
It's worth the wait.
Oh man. Okay, so. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Neo and Mansoor just kicking the shit out of Africans.
They're a lot better than the French crowd. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, listen, it's a sold out crowd every time.
Yeah.
This guy's had enough. This
When you
guy's
don't
had
charge
enough.
anything, it's always sold out.
Yeah.
Oh man!
They're getting dumped on their back. And they love it.
If you drop one of these men into the AEW locker room and just say, you know, fight to the death, the person from Soft Ground Wrestling is the only one walking out.
It's great to see those professional the Maximum Male models. They actually flew out there to help support this fucking
Did they really?
backyard. Yeah, that's what you're looking at right now.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't even tell.
Oh.
Oh, don't turn your back. Oh, this guy's coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a super kick party. Oh no.
Look at that. TBS needs to pick these guys up immediately. Fuck
I would watch this
AEW.
every Wednesday
Get
night.
Exactly. At 8 o'clock, Soft Ground Wrestling, only on TBS.
It's inclusive. Come on, guys. This is everything you want in TV now.
Oh my goodness.
There's the evil bad guy.
That's the villain. That's the heel.
Yeah,
Yes, yes. The only white guy in the country. He's they've made him a heel.
No, of course they did. He's the ultimate heel. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Everybody quiet. Lines drop.
Oh my God.
Yes, this was the day that the Africans got over on the white colonizer. With the help of the Maximum Male models.
Let's fucking kill him!
By the way, this guy's money. I'm sorry. Like this guy should be signed. Like he's big.
I don't
He's in
understand
shape.
how they blew this. I don't understand how they blew it with him. You've got a former NFL player. He's as big as hell, good looking, jacked, and somehow, we'll make him a model, and he won't be gay, but he'll be gay.
Like, guy's good looking enough to be a model, though. Let's be honest. Like, he's a guy you could see doing sports mags or something. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. Oh.
He just saw the face of God.
Yeah.
That right there is Jesus calling me home.
Yeah. To be honest, Mark, it's a better storyline than what AEW's got going on.
I believe it.
I stumbled across it on Twitter, watched like 5 matches, saw their name draw call Will Ospreay, and he's like, I'm sold. Will Ospreay, I dare you to come here. I will fight you anytime.
Oh my goodness. We're being joined currently by Phil Mox from Pro Wrestle Times. Hey Phil, I hope you just saw us talking about soft ground wrestling.
Yeah, I have a new business plan. I've actually I'm gonna buy soft ground wrestling. Yeah. I'm gonna import the greatest Ugandan talent from here to Saudi Arabia.
Oh my
It's gonna be
God.
awesome. Cool, Matt, you're fire.
This is how we get back. This is how I get back on top of the world.
We're grabbing the brass ring and we're taking the pro wrestling world by storm. Soft ground Uganda wrestling.
How many
Get me
shares
a-
of WWE stock will that cost?
Mike Middleton, Grace Randolph when quiet is a snack. Fight me. Like you would, I think we just found Awful's burner account. Wow.
Well, you know.
Well, you know.
I've never been quiet. I don't know how to do that.
Oh,
You
God.
may have heard the term MCU, and
So
it's real, but it's also very offensive.
just give me 10
Hey,
seconds.
No one can hear you scream, except for me. You'll always hear me.
Even in the vacuum of space, this voice travels.
That's
Let me
I
just-
shatter barriers.
Just give me 10 seconds. Just give me 10 seconds to explain who Grace Randolph is. All she is a
Why are you doing this to our loyal fans? Why?
All
Why
right.
would you do this?
Because there might be people who don't know who Grace Randolph is and may want to
they're,
know.
they're the lucky ones. They're called lucky human beings. They're going to live full and wonderful lives because they don't know who this wretched woman is.
I love it.
All right, go ahead. Ruin their lives. Ruin it. Guys, earmuffs. Put on the earmuffs until Awful's done talking.
Just a simple podcaster who does movie reviews that I used to watch a long time.
I just muted him.
Oh, I thought he cut out.
Hold on, I gotta unmute. Why can't I unmute him? There we go. There we go. You're back now. All right, go ahead. This time I won't stop you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Grace Randolph is a motherfucker, and so are you, Marv. Go ahead.
Oh boy. The DRWC show, $5. Thank you so much. Says should Tony DeBlasi go into the woods with a horse and not bother anybody? He owned the AEW trademark, you know. I don't understand this one. Who can fill me in here?
That's the Don Reynolds and White Chocolate show. They're part of the Scoop Network, and Tony DeBlasi is Don Tony. And he talks about owning the AEW trademark, which he may have owned it once upon a time. I remember I actually bought the domain name for AEW before they had it.
Wow.
And
AEW.com?
and I let it go. I had allelitewrestling.net, which was one of the
Really?
subdomains, and AEW and AEW fans, and a few other ones, because I picked it up on GoDaddy had like a special, like buy one, get one for $1. So I just started spamming all these random domain names for AEW. But
Wow.
Stupid.
You could have made it. You could have made a lot. He would have paid you anything for that for those domain names.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah.
JPS says MMM or MXM now are great and should be signed back. Yep, seems like it.
I think they will be signed back. I think Kev mentioned it, like the big black bull. I think he's going to get re-signed. I hate to call him the big black bull, but that's right.
Isn't that the point of releasing all these people, though? I think it's funny the way that in the past there's been bus flips, right? Where they just dump a ton of wrestlers at once. They get all this bad flack, this bad faith flack from a lot of AEW fans over the last few years and other places. And for the most part, the reason that people are let go is so that they can train, get better, and then the company calls them back. It's not a death sentence unless you did something stupid. And
a lot of times I think
go ahead. Sorry.
A lot of times I think it is just go out there and learn your craft and come back when you're ready.
Yeah,
right.
And I think it's real interesting this year, though. If you guys haven't noticed, they haven't done that this year. Usually they just dump everyone at once. They've been trickling people out of the company. It seems like over the last couple of months, it's been like one or two people here. Like the Cameron Grimes response was really harsh for a lot of people. But I think even Joey said it like 72 hours later, everybody stopped talking about it. And it wasn't because people don't like Cameron Grimes. But if you had Cameron Grimes there with all these other people that would have been released, it would have been a media circus. And I think that Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, and maybe even Nick Khan and the other powers that be that are in control of the staff have figured out how to deal with the social media backlash of releasing talent. And I think that this is probably the smartest way.
Well, just remember how bad it used to be? You know, 2 weeks after WrestleMania was pretty much spring cleaning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, they would dump like 20 people. over the course of 2 weeks. You're like, holy shit. And it wasn't really until, they kind of matured as a publicly traded entity where all of a sudden they stopped firing people. We got like almost from like WrestleMania 30 up into the pandemic, who the hell got released?
Right.
Like they didn't and then the pandemic hit, and then they unloaded a shit ton of people, and then so it's like I said, it's they know we're gonna have a shit weekend, but by the time we get back to Monday, all the whining and crying is gonna kind of be done, and for a lot of these guys to get someone like a Cameron Grimes, again, I still maintain that I'm actually shocked, that they let him go. But at the same time, once these guys get lost in the shuffle, it takes all but a miracle for them to kind of get some momentum going. It's almost like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
like Grimes go back to TNA. Trevor Lee was over a shit in TNA, or he can go to Japan. I honestly don't know why you would go to AEW unless you were there to cash out. But these guys have options, so it'll be interesting to see. And again, I don't understand how they blew it with Dio. For whatever reason, they wanted to be a commentator. Then just remember, like when Brock put him through the table on Raw, he was bigger than Brock at the time,
right?
And then again, Vince gets these weird bugs up his ass where he wants to do these bizarre little things, and like Mansoor, was Mansoor really supposed to be able to go back to Saudi Arabia with that gimmick?
No.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think of that. That's actually a great point.
No.
Like that was kind of short-sighted, on Vince's part. Like this guy has been like your main, your main side attraction, and you gave him that gimmick. I don't care what we're talking about. That's not going over well there. At least now they can leave, they can get the stink off, they can do other things, and if it works out, and they get to come back, everybody will be look at AOP.
Or Naomi. Look at Naomi.
Yeah.
Naomi did great in TNA.
It's done wonders. Like MXM, even look at Cardona, completely reinvented himself. Like when he does eventually come back to WWE, it'll be way bigger than look, we just randomly put another belt on Zack Ryder or whatever. It'll make a huge impact. And even someone like Chelsea Green, who look at her, she's like the epitome of I think what a WWE superstar is supposed to be. And that's my opinion, at least. And I mean, she had to get kicked out of that company a couple times in order to make that happen. So
I see it brought up in the chat, but I'm really curious you guys' take about the whole Gable Stevenson thing.
Stevenson? Is it Stevenson or Stevenson?
I think it's Stevenson. It might be Stevenson.
Yeah.
Okay.
First off, he's an awesome amateur wrestler. He, in the realm of amateur wrestling, he is very charismatic, very vivid. He strikes differently than everybody else, and I'm into that world of amateur wrestling. But in the world of professional wrestling, bro, you've got to get rid of that Johnny Same Face, and you've got to emote, and you've got to, obviously you've got to brush off these allegations and all the other shit. But as far as him being a professional wrestler, I think he wants to go after another Olympic gold, and I think that the departure was amicable on that end.
Yeah. Do you think with the allegations though they would let him on the Olympic team?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't give a shit
easily
because also he was acquitted in a court of law, so they'll probably use that as justification.
But WWE is
to bring it up again
scrutiny for that right now. So I was always wondering, do other people think that because of those allegations, even though they were unfounded, do you think that might be one of the things that WWE just wants to distance themselves from?
I believe this was Gable Stevenson's idea.
I'll give WWE this.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Harvey Weinstein, of course, they'll brush it right under the rug.
When allegations pop up, they are very good about supporting their talent. Listen, at the end of the day, if Enzo had been forthright with them, Enzo would have never been fired. Heath Slater got savaged with just a really terrible accusation.
Yeah.
Like when you look at what she said he did, it was horrific. And they're like, "Hey, thank you for telling us." keep your mouth shut. Legal will take care of it. You're not going to be on TV until it's done. And then as soon as it wraps itself up, you're back out there. So that they are good about backing their people. If you're honest with them.
Yeah.
I think if you're innocent, it can be proven that you're innocent. I mean, the court
of public opinion and the court of law, that have proven to skew differently depending on some situations.
For the WWE to really, they understand, like, if this didn't hit the mainstream, if the allegations didn't hit the mainstream, if this is only some online bullshit, we're not going to worry about it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they're only waiting until that type of news hits the mainstream. I believe the Gable Steveson departure was amicable. Yeah. I'm curious to know what happens with Tamara Mensah-Stock, who is the female version of Gabe Steveson, and she won the gold medal in the Olympics, and she was signed to a contract with the WWE. I wonder how they're going to, I wonder if she's still contracted with WWE. My whole thing is that when Kurt Angle won his gold medal, he had a broken neck. So it wasn't
a broken freaking neck. Thank you. You gotta add the freaking.
Right. Exactly. Now, he obviously couldn't go on to the next Olympics and win a gold medal. Tamara Mensah-Stock, Gable Steveson, they both had that opportunity to do so. So why be involved with WWE at this point? Why not have a double gold medalist in your company in the next 5-6 years? They're already doing well right now with what they have. So why bring in Gable or Tamara into the fold right now? Let them win their gold medals and beyond, then hit the next level for WWE.
For them, it's get them into the system, get them acclimated to the system.
Right.
Let's see how it goes. Like, listen, if he had been ready early, or let's even just say, because you can probably blame a lot of it on the pandemic, caused a giant log jam with talent being developed, this, that, and the other thing. If he was ready to go early, they would have had him on TV. And you could tell, like, he was getting closer and closer and closer because we dripped and drabbed him in, NXT. He'd do a random thing on Raw here or there. He probably needed a little extra time, but the opportunity to go get another gold medal, probably more important. So they're playing the long game, especially too. They get these athletes when they're really young. How old is he?
He's got to be under 25.
Right? Yeah, I'd say he's not even 25. So he can go train, and by the time he's ready to come back, let's say it even takes him another 2 or 3 years to finally get it. By the time you throw him out on TV, he's still under 30. He's still under 30. And Hunter has shown that he's willing to go. Age doesn't really matter much if you're still in shape and can still go.
Yeah,
right.
Because he's signing guys who are in their 40s. So it's to me, it's a win-win for them. This kid goes in here.
It's about optics, Kev.
Yep.
It's about optics. I mean, Gabe Stevenson cannot look a different way. Like, they can't make him a heel on his way to becoming a second-time Olympic gold champion. You see what I'm saying? Like, they don't want that. They don't want that contrast happening. So they're just like, you know what, Gabe? How about this? You go try to win that second medal, which is probably going to happen, and you come back to us, and then we can cut your beard. We can lengthen your hair. We can do things that we want to do truly to make you a star.
Although your connection is starting to skits out, but we heard you. We did hear you. Also, no other people hearing you in the chat, Alejandro Melendez says, "Wretched woman? You mean sexy woman?" About Grace Randolph.
You all would. Don't lie. You all would.
Christopher Torres says, "I would rather go into a blender than watch anything related to Grace Randolf." About a lot of super chats about Grace Randolf. I was not expecting that to be a super chat.
You started that.
On Wednesday, I'm getting so much attention.
Okay. So moving on to Backlash, like we were supposed to do. All right. Starting off, you got the Bloodline, and you got Owens and Randy. Phil Mox, Pro Wrestle Times. I want to hear your opinion on this match. How you would rate it?
So this is the tag match. Sorry, you're talking about.
Yes, and folks, if you want to comment on any of these matches, just super chat along, and we'll read your thoughts on the matches as well.
So this match, the match in and of itself, I mean, it set the tone off right. You kind of had to figure something was going to happen. A lot of people were saying Jacob Fatu. PW Insider was saying, hey, he will be there imminently, maybe like a part of the draft. So he wasn't a part of the draft. So everybody assumed the big twist would be Jacob. And not to just jump through the match, but I mean, what was it? It was a solid tag match, I guess. It was nothing to write home about, but the ending is what everybody was talking about, which is where Tanga Loa popped up from under the ring, and you've seen a lot of fan angles. I know myself and Apollo agreed that everybody's like, was this the worst debut in history? Because Loa seemingly missed his time cue a little bit, but no, we saw what was on the live feed. I didn't see from behind the commentary desk camera angle.
We didn't see your cell phone footage of this.
Yeah, so it's like that doesn't mean shit to me. I think a worse debut. I tweeted out as like a worse debut is being Jay fucking White and having to fight Commander for 25 minutes in your debut match. That to me is a worse debut than Tanga Loa seemingly making his time cue because the ref saved it and we were watching the live feed. The crowd was fucking awesome. I know we're gonna get into that probably in a bit, but the crowd
at this point, to me, they were still awesome. I still like them at this point.
Yeah, so they were just going nuts, putting everything over. Every little thing, heel or face throughout the show. I'm sure we'll dive into it more, but at this point, Marv's liking the crowd. I'm liking the crowd, and Tanga Loa shows up. Now he was Camacho once in WWE. He is Tama Tonga's brother. The Gorillas of Destiny, GODs in New Japan. A lot of people are sharing these funny clips of Tama Tonga doing like silly shit in New Japan. Listen, look up his tag stuff because that's what we're going to be getting in WWE. We're not going to get him like fake chopping Okada and stuff. He's not going to be doing 619s. Okay. He's going to be treated like a powerhouse, like a savage, like his brother. And we're going to see them do tag team stuff. And hopefully we get the Usos eventually. We can all fantasy mark book all the bloodline stuff, I guess, as we go. But basically, Tanga Loa showed up, and I thought it was great. I was screaming. I was live streaming it, and I was like, yes, like we get, because as a mark myself, Phil marks myself, TM. I was really hoping GODs. Like I was like, man, if anybody could come in next, it should be Tanga Loa, but we'll take Jacob Fatu. We'll take that, But it should be Tanga Loa for the story. The Tongans sort of infiltrate now, and they get their part of the bloodline told, and then eventually maybe they kick Solo out, whatever. But now it's seemingly, Jacob Fatu's probably going to align with like Jay and Jimmy, which would kind of make more sense, I guess, as well. But yeah, the Tongans, man, it's their time. GODs in WWE as a New Japan mark. You got to be putting this shit over. If you're one of those guys who's like, oh, New Japan, AEW, you have to be happy for this. We're about to get some craziness. And I loved it. I thought it set the show off great. A great way to start the show. Hard act to follow, but it was great followed. Opener. And yeah, I don't know. Great opener. A fucking 10 out of 10 for me.
Mish, how about you? What'd you think of this one?
Opener was great. I agree with both of you guys. As far as the crowd goes, they set the direction of the rest of the show. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton coming out there as absolute champions for everybody. Tanga Loa obviously being the big surprise for everybody online. Nobody was really expecting him. Not your Meltzers, not your Sean Ross Sapps.
Right.
Nobody was really dropping the name. I do like the idea, Phil, that you put out there that you had to go with the Gorillas of Destiny meetup. I think it's interesting too, which not a lot of people are talking about, but some people are making the connections now that WWE and New Japan are starting to play nicey nice, and that could lead to more talent doing the crossover into WWE or vice versa. And obviously we're looking forward to a WWE Japan show down the road, but I really have been enjoying the hell out of these international shows. And I use my quote fingers on that only because when I look back at Puerto Rico being such a solid show, it's technically not international, but for the sake of the way that WWE usually books across the continental United States, it really was. And just to see the fanfare outside of this country, it's amazing because you can take I hate to say it like this, but a pretty subpar card, a pretty subpar card. And because
House
of
show
that
card.
interaction between that audience, man, people stepped up their games. The show seemed a lot tighter. Like the matches were a little bit more influenced. My co-hosts both hated the audience. They just hate France. But I
got there eventually. We'll get to that.
Yeah, towards the end of the show, I understood why people were getting irritated by it, but I'm like, my understanding, my damage control for France is this: they don't get WWE shows. How the fuck are they supposed to act?
Yeah,
they don't
I
get
guess it's
these
true.
shows. They don't have anything to preface it on. I mean, it's like everybody's irritated. It's like they're treating it like a soccer show because that's all they know. It's WWE.
But the
doesn't
beautiful
make the
thing
rounds.
about that, Mish, is that their chants made sense. I put a tweet out yesterday, talking about how like somebody deciphered the French translation into English, and I was just like, okay, I see, I get it now. 1, 2, okay, only a 2, gotcha. You fucked up chance, okay. He is phenomenal, all that. While it may have been annoying for most American fans, once you understand the translation, it's just like, okay, they're really into the matches. You would think that they were dealing with a soccer chant or whatever. Like, it's just like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying. What's going on? But now that now that you can find out what they were saying, it added to the allure of the event.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I'll be honest. I enjoyed the fans all the way throughout the show.
Me too.
I like that big feel because even though it was just WrestleMania Backlash, now dubbed Backlash France, and it's supposed to be kind of like the blow-off card post-WrestleMania, it still had a big fight night. I mean, I don't want to skip ahead too much further, but they made a main event that was lock and key feel special. Right. And I had to sit there and say that really was the engagement of the crowd that made a match that I don't think anybody blew the prediction on the main event. I don't think anybody was like, AJ Styles is going to win this. No,
he's got a shot.
But I thought because of the engagement of the crowd and because of the way that they carried the match, there was a few points where AJ Styles could have won that match and people would have lost their minds. And I was like, wow, that's how good the crowd is. That's how good the structure was for this match. Of course, that's how good Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles are. It was impressive all the way throughout the night. But the opener was fine. I loved Nick coming out there, switching up the match to a street fight. I don't mind the crowd interaction, them going in and out of the railing and stuff like that. It was fine. It's everything that you wanted it to be, since it was booked as just a basic tag match, dude. On paper, on Thursday when we were doing predictions, we're just kind of rolling our eyes going, oh, well, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are going to eat the pins. Like there was nothing coming out of it, but they added that extra level. And then you had the crowd insanity on top of it. It was a good first match. It was a great opener, surprise entrance, expanding the bloodline storyline a little bit. And even though Kevin Owens and Randy Orton ate the pin again, like they've lost again post WrestleMania, I still didn't feel like they really lost anything. If anything, it feels like it's a stepping stone towards something different in their future.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I like the opening match. It was awesome.
Yeah, Awful. Do you have anything else you want to add about the match? Your opinion on it?
No, you guys did great. I mean, I thought the match was superb as an opening match. It's what it was supposed to be. Forget about the botch, with Tanga. I'm interested to see where they go to next, and I'm not going to go on Google to find out who the
Germany,
fuck he
right?
is. And
Berlin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it might be Berlin next time. Yeah.
This sort of reminded me again of Puerto Rico. Like, man, last year when the Puerto Rico show went down, Chambea.
Yeah.
That was, dude, that was everything,
Best
bro.
crowd in 2023.
Yeah, and
we don't have to worry about Germany.
The
There are humorless people. We don't have to worry about anything there.
Just don't send JBL out there again. That's all.
Yeah. Right. This is very good. I hope someone sends the cowboy out.
This okay. This is pretty good. Pretty good match. Sleeve stars.
All right, Kevin Apollo, your thoughts on this opener?
Pretty good. Listen, it is what it was. It was a good, fun opening match. I like how they're leveraging Nick Aldis. He is, bigger than the most of the roster. So, having him kind of throw his weight around when making decisions is pretty cool. You don't see that a lot, even with Adam Pearce, right? again, the big surprise at the end. I recommend don't check out their New Japan stuff. Check out the Gorillas ROH stuff. Them versus the Briscoes. That kind of gives you a more accurate feel for what you're probably going to see. Or just them in the thick of the Bullet Club stuff when they were kicking the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
They're a very physical, intense team. You could tell they were trained by the Dudleys. It should be really cool. It should be really cool to see. Other than that, it's one of those. It is what it is, man. It was a nice, fun, physical match. Kevin Owens, shines in these kinds of matches. He just kind of one of those guys where you could tell he says, I want to do this crazy thing. And they go, okay, we're going to go do it. Orton is just kind of having the time of his life. I'm waiting for him to heel turn and go kick Cody's ass because, Cody needs a strong villain, but I'm sure we'll talk about that later. Other than that, it is what it is. This bloodline storyline, this far into it, still continues to be the most interesting thing in wrestling. And I don't think that we've I don't think we're anywhere near close to running out of gas.
Right. So some people were like, "Oh, you got to do your homework on Tanga Loa, like what you say in AEW," but you don't. They said the son of Haku, Tama Tonga's brother, like that. The story's told.
That's it. Well, the WWE, unless they want you to know about what someone else did outside, they'll tell you what you need to know. This is Haku's son. This is his brother. We are not going to even acknowledge that he was Camacho.
And may I add one thing too? At the Hall of Fame there, The Rock, mind you, as well. Now, what they've said so many times, Roman, The Rock, everything we do in the bloodline matters. Every facial, every little thing we do. And if you remember at the Hall of Fame, The Rock went up to Haku, his mother, but specifically Haku, and he was giving him love and stuff. Yep. And I think he is going to side with Solo and the GODs, and then Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and Jacob are going to align themselves. And it makes more sense because Jacob does the flips and shit. So he's not going to come in and be like a monster like Solo. Two monsters doing the same thing. No, they're not going to both be baby Umagas. One of them's going to be Jacob. He's going to be doing springboard moonsaults. That's his moveset,
Those names sound like
power
the new
bombs and stuff. Yeah, so that's babyface stuff. WWE's not gonna fumble that. He will eventually be a heel, but I think he comes in as a Fatu with Jimmy, Jay, and Roman. I think eventually we're gonna get to that. That's way down the line, but I don't know. I just wanted to point that out about at the Hall of Fame. The Rock was really dapping up Haku, and that was really shown prominently. And I just feel like that's gonna play into this down the line.
Okay, next match we got the women's title. You got Bayley, Tiffany Stratton, and Naomi. Now, I thought, look, there's a lot of talent in the ring, but something was off. There was some miscommunications. There was a lot of weird moments. I thought it was not the match I thought it was going to be. I think Tiffany Stratton is fantastic. I think she is the women's star of the future. I think she was a little lost out there. I think she's still, a little green. Gotta figure it out. Mish, what did you think of this one?
I love Tiffany Stratton, but yeah, you're right. This match was a little mid. Naomi is not performing on even the level that she was doing in TNA. I don't know if it's, she's just still trying to get back into the groove of things or what, or maybe she's just not really coherent with what's going on in the three-way matches. Look, I understand a lot of the time three-way matches are some of the hardest matches that you'll see on a card because there's a lot of miscues and a lot of missteps, and then you have to find your time and everything else like that. But Naomi out there was absolutely the albatross of this match. And Bayley, look, I want Bayley to just go back to being the super over baby face, the stomp and clap that everybody loves. And she's still playing this weird tweener-esque role that she hasn't completely shed off her heel roots. And even Joey and other people were bringing it up the other day. They're like, Bayley has been a heel longer than she's been a face. And it's really depressing to think of that when you realize how amazing she was when she was just soaking in the adulation of the dude. France wanted to sing to her. France wanted to sing to her so bad. But Bayley's playing this middle of the line row. She, for the most part, she feels like she's resting on her laurels a bit. But Tiffany Stratton, I totally agree. absolutely the wave of the future. She did a lot to carry this match, but at the end of the day, she's green. She's young. She needs more time. She'll get there. She'll figure it out. She's absolutely, in my opinion, destined to wear gold at some point. Wouldn't surprise me soon. But yeah, Bailey and Naomi
I think she's Queen of the Ring. I think she's going to be Queen of the Ring.
Might be, yeah.
Tiff?
Yeah, that's my pick. Awful. What did you think about this match?
I thought it was good. I think part of the problem is that you've got two baby faces in there. Even though you want to call Bailey a tweener, she's a baby face, along with Naomi facing off against Tiffany Stratton. That's pretty much a 2-on-1 handicap match, and so I guess that's where the clunkiness came in, or not so much the clunkiness, but the vibe of the match. Tiffany did great. Naomi, she was serviceable. But Bailey, I think you're right. They're obviously going to go back to the hugger gimmick, but
I don't think they're going to go back
now.
to that.
The match was.
I don't think that.
Okay. Well, $5 in the chat. But ultimately, I do believe that they're going to slowly weave themselves right back into it because they've got to have a white meat baby face on the woman's side. And right. I think Bailey's the perfect one to do it.
Yeah, but what the fuck
overall,
you like Grace Randolph?
Yeah, I know. I mean, good grief.
Phil Mox, what do you got on this one?
Bastard.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much said it. I like your pick for Tiffy time, as the French would say. I like her as the Queen of the Ring as well.
Or Miss Money in the Bank. Someone pointed that out in the chat.
Yeah, it's gotta be one of those two. And yeah, I agree with what you guys said. There was a little spots of greenness. I don't know, decent match.
Right.
Crowd was super over, and it wasn't. I don't know. Everyone's work is solid. You know what I mean? It's the WWE, but yeah, a little bit of greenness in there from Tiff. But she'll step up eventually. Give her like 6 more months, she'll be flawless in there.
Yeah. Kevin Apollo, anything to add?
When you look at what this pay-per-view was supposed to do, right? Hunter was very smart in the sense of there's no reason to try to top or tie Mania. Mania's Mania. This pay-per-view had a very simple thing to do. It had to establish the credibility of the champions and their challengers. That's why the matches were kind of what they were. From my daughter's perspective, watching it, she was like, "Oh, I can cheer for Bailey again." Cool. So the kids were able to kind of see. The women's match, that was a very complicated story to tell. Because Bailey is a face, Naomi is a face, but this story has been about Tiffany. Ever since she challenged them and beat Naomi, this story is about establishing Tiffany. This story is about reestablishing Naomi. Bailey being the champion, all Bailey had to do was win, and Bailey's fine. They had to tell the story in a way that defied what really should have happened. It should have been the two baby faces kicked the shit out of this spoiled little girl and sent her packing. And they worked really hard to give you a nice balance, and everybody got to shine. That's all that matters, and the only thing that matters is, a lot of us know that there may have been a little bit of confusion there because we're either trained or we're super fans, But the average person watching this just saw a regular triple threat match, and it was more than serviceable. Everybody looked decent, and everybody walked out of there. No one came out of it hurt, and that's all this pay-per-view had to do.
Right, true.
Everybody came out
exactly
good.
Next match, World Heavyweight title. You got Damian Priest defending against Jey Uso. I hated this match so much. I thought Jey Uso's entrance was good, and then the bell had to ring. I thought it was just blah. I did not like it. Just the super kick. I can't do it. I don't like it when the Young Bucks do it. I don't like when he does it.
Why does Jey Uso think that he's not going to be able to do what, come on now, you're doing the exact same bullshit that the Young Bucks are doing.
Yep.
Please stop that. Trading the forearms, trading super kicks, bullshit. I am 100% on board with you, Marv, on that one.
Oh, hold on. I agree with the guy that likes Grace Randolph. I might have to reevaluate my choices.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. All right, that's the
Every
last one,
week,
I
ladies and gentlemen, you'll hear about Grace Randolph.
Phil, what do you? I feel like you disagree with me on this one.
Which one? Priest
On
and
the Jey Uso and Priest.
No. I mean, I get why people are being like are shitting on Jay's in ring. You know what I mean? I get it. I totally the thigh slapping. We were making fun of it. PWT live show. I was watching Backlash, drinking mimosas, and we were laughing at the thigh slaps in the chat. And I mean, I agree. But with that being said, he's so over to where someone's got to talk to Jay and tell him, less is more now because you're so over. You don't even got to do as much anymore, bruv.
Right.
But he's still putting it on there. Like he's trying to let everyone know that he can put on a great show. And Priest is just, I don't know. He's that dude to me. Some people go, oh, he's a mid-carder at best. I don't know, man. I've been following him.
I like him as a main event guy.
You don't?
He's doing all
I
right.
do.
Oh, you
like
do?
him.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's that dude. And like eventually, when Bad Bunny comes back, you have them possibly teaming up or something when he leaves the Judgment Day. I'm always thinking of the future, folks, if you can't tell.
Right.
But yeah, man, I just see Priest as that dude, and Jay's a credible main event Jey Uso. He's like they've taken this guy who was a tag team act through and through. I never thought he'd ever leave being a tag act, and he is legitimately a guy that people are saying he should be the next world champion and stuff. So that's incredible in and of itself. His reaction was great. The match was what it was. Again, it wasn't anything to write home about, but Apollo nailed it. It was just, you got to establish the divisions, the threats, how strong everybody is, and that's what this card did. And it was just establishing Damian Priest, and he gains more from winning against Jay there than Jay would gain from winning that belt there, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And yeah, that was my thoughts.
Apollo?
Listen, you don't have to be a good wrestler to be a great wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the meat and potatoes of it. The greatest stars in wrestling are the guys who are probably, would be counted as amongst some of the absolute worst wrestlers ever, right? Like, again, we love him here, but the Hulkster.
Right.
Hulkster didn't do shit, although Hogan in Japan is a different animal. But
right, for some reason.
Hulkster, he didn't do shit.
Yeah. Junkyard Dog in Mid-South.
People shit on Cena.
Yeah.
But, and I say Cena doesn't get enough credit. Cena,
Kev, your Wi-Fi is definitely cut.
Some of the biggest names to the guys are the ones who, some of the biggest are the guys who are just people are like, this guy wasn't shit. Jay is in a different stratosphere. He's just by virtue. Dropping himself in his neck every night, and now he's a heavyweight champion. Not the old ROH shit, just to kind of be like, hey, I can do this.
Kev,
the guy is the future.
Kev, your Wi-Fi is all over the place. We can barely understand what you're saying. No, I get the gist of what you're saying. Yes, like the way Priest has come a long way from Punisher Martinez.
Yeah.
I absolutely understand what you're saying.
Am I back?
You're somewhat back, yeah. I believe you're back.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try it again. Long and short of it, listen, the match was just what it needed to be. They both can do that style. Jay has been doing this bullshit since they were feuding with the New Day. He just does a lot of super kicks. Eventually, he will tone it down. We've seen the same match that Jey Uso for the last 5 years. So I kind of don't know why everybody's so upset about it, but again, it is what it is. It's just like, let's just be patient and kind of see where he goes with it.
I agree. Mish, what do you got on this one?
I have to stand behind Damian Priest. He's been impressive ever since he's come up to the main roster. I like the fact that the guy adds a lot of innovation into his matches. And I understand that a lot of people agree that he might be a transitional champion, but I think this is a chance to really see him shine. He has the belt for the first time. He's in a very important position. He's leading one of the biggest factions, stables in WWE right now, next to Ripley, of course. But obviously, there's going to be changes in that storyline as it continues down the future, too. And, of course, you're seeing the biggest thing that happened in this match was him directly butting heads with Forehead and Finn Balor. And I like the idea that it might be changing him. He might go face. He might change it up a little bit. And I think that you're at a point in his career that even if he doesn't become the guy that's going to hold the belt for 666 days, he might still develop more as a character and become more of a talent and more impressive down the road as a main event guy. So him having the opportunity to defeat Jay doesn't make him look weak, doesn't make Jay look weak. If anything, this was all for storyline, and that's what it felt like.
I agree. All right, next match. We are moving on to the tag title match. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defeat the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah.
This one was, I mean, look, Bianca sold her butt off on this one. And Kairi Sane was basically, it was like Loki and Hulk, where it was just like she got pounded into the mat. Look, Jade still very green, but doing what she needs to do. She's got to stand there and let people run into her, basically. My favorite part, though, was when they had them in the dueling armbars, and Bianca is selling her butt off. She's kicking her legs.
Boy,
she's screaming.
did you
she's
hit
fighting.
it right on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Jade is just laying there perfectly still in the armbar, not selling, not moving. It's like she fell asleep.
Yeah.
Phil,
This
let's
was
start
the
with you
match
this
that
time.
I wanted to talk. Go
Or
ahead.
I guess we're
Go
starting
ahead,
with Awful.
Phil.
No, I guess we're starting with you, Awful.
No, Awful.
no,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
bro. Go ahead.
Okay. Listen, I love Jade Cargill. Okay. She is the standout in professional wrestling right at this moment. But with that given, I critique her twice as hard. She cannot work outside of her quote unquote rehearsed spots. She doesn't know how to sell. She's got Johnny same face. Whenever she gets hit in the face, she turns off, if that makes any sense. Like her arms go wobbly. Me and my wife are looking at this entire match like, oh my God, Jade is still as terrible as ever. And I love Jade Cargill, don't get me wrong, but watch that match again. It's exactly what you said, Marv. When she was in the armbar with Kairi Sane, she laid there. Meanwhile, Bianca Belair is selling her ass off, struggling, fighting. Asuka's working it into, and Bianca is just, Jade Cargill is just waiting for the spot where they both do the tandem tag or the tandem move or whatever. Great. She knows how to do the rehearsed spots beautifully. But it's the beats between the notes, if that makes any sense. Kev, I know you know what I'm talking about. Like, she's got to sell. She's got to register. That's all I've got for that match. But I love Jade Cargill. She's got to work hard.
I have to counterpoint that.
Go for it.
I think she did a fine job for her size. People want Jade to sell like she's the same size as Kairi Sane. I don't think she should. When you're bringing an Omos level woman into the division, you don't treat her like everyone else. It's the same thing when they had big women like Jazzy Gabbard in there. It's the same thing that they even had back when they had Kong in there, and when they had Karma, sorry. And even when they had early Nia Jax. Not saying that Nia Jax doesn't have problems, but I think that there's a lot of times that she shouldn't sell. I think some of the allure of her character is to be larger than life.
Mish, my buddy, my old pal, listen, when you get struck in the face, you got to watch the match again. When you get struck in the face by Kairi Sane, your arm should not turn into soy sauce noodles. Like she does
soy
a thing where it's just like she gets hit.
Like, what a choice you made there. What a choice of phrase, Jim Cornette.
I'm so sorry,
with your food choices over here.
Yeah. But I mean, come
Good
on.
Lord.
She gets hit in the face. I'll never forget it. Like her arms turn to noodles. It's almost like she shuts off. Like, put up your fist, act wobbly, like throw your arms up, do something to gesticulate the fact that you are hurting. but you still are a competitor. She looked like when she got hit, it was just like, oh, I'm dead. She looked like a video game character. That's what my wife told me. Like, she looks like a video game character getting hit with the move.
Phil, I'm sorry, we cut you off before. So what do you got on this one?
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
man, that was great. No. So I see both perspectives there. Not to be a fence rider, but I love Jade as well. I will say though, she was kind of stumbling around like a drunk, half cut, half asleep uncle. You know, that was kind of her selling, and you could tell she was straight up listening and trying to get communication and listening in, which is good. She's so green. But I think this was a good move to like put the tag strap on her so that her and Bianca can do the house show loops together, and she can hopefully learn from Bianca as much as she possibly can. You mean
Bianca is the learning tree?
Exactly.
And so, but I will say that, she's green. She's way above. She's come along. She's not like China level yet. I would honestly say that if we're going to compare her to
she's better than China.
Yeah, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that this girl is ready to like wow the entire world at this point.
Yeah,
I'm just saying the idea of making her sell Kyrie's moves like I just don't know.
I agree, she shouldn't be that. So that's where I see it from your perspective. But at times I just felt like she was kind of just stumbling around.
Right.
But this was great.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm happy that they put the tag straps on them, because that's how you slowly legitimize her and just keep her on the road with Bianca. She's going to be in the car with Bianca. She's going to be on the plane with Bianca on the road at the house shows, and that is at TVs, and she's going to really either sink or swim. I say she swims, but I don't know. I thought the match was solid though. Like, I guess for what it was, you know.
Yeah, I want her to do well.
Colin Taylor checking in with a super chat. Thank you very much. Says, I lived in Japan for 11 plus years. I know not of these soy sauce noodles of which you speak.
I'm so sorry. Now I'm on the list.
Okay.
Now I am on a list.
You're gonna be canceled by Grace Randolph.
You're canceled.
Apollo, anything to add?
I can't be associated with the racist who talks about soy sauce noodles because an Asian girl was in the ring.
Oh, it's okay. I'm Japanese. I'll just
Asian girl.
just blame it on the Japanese guy here. That's all.
True. Mish left, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about
it. Listen, we've got 3 types of tag teams that exist: familial tag teams, the tag team of two guys you just throw together because they're either both young and you got nothing for them to do, or they're similar enough that you think you can get something out of them, and you have the vet and the rookie. Jade, although she spent all that time in AEW, we have to be honest, she has only been learning how to wrestle for the last 7 months. She's learning on the road. She is not greener than goose shit. She is as green as a fresh blade of grass on a May morning. She is new. She is a newborn. She is in her baby duck phase. So yes, when Kyrie punches her, and listen, Kyrie was Little Mac, and Jade was giving her superstar every time she got hit. It just kind of is what it is. Also, too, something at some point in time during the match, and it may have been because they couldn't hear, because that was that was a big factor to why a lot of these matches kind of broke down. They legitimately couldn't hear each other. Kudos to Bianca for pulling everything together, because at some point in time during the match, everybody got lost. Something got knocked out of order, and we were like, I don't know where to go. And when you have the ref screaming, you are not the legal person, and he's kind of being ignored, it kind of went off the rails. And Bianca pulled it back together. Other point, yes, you know what, Jade, for although this belongs to Jordan, Jade is the fucking juggernaut. She does not have to sell like she's a regular person. She has to sell an art car, but she doesn't have to sell like she's a regular person. Listen, to her credit, she did roll over and try to stop it from being completed. So at least she did that.
Right.
This wasn't Vince Russo laying on his back in leg lock for 15 minutes on Nitro.
Right.
She did try to save herself. Again, but that stuff is going to come in time. And yes, putting them together, putting these belts on them. Listen, Jade, everything Jade has done so far in the WWE has been to say, this is a star. She's a champion now.
Mm-hmm.
She runs with Bianca. They tore through. They said they tore through the Kabuki Warriors, and no one has actually done that. Asuka, they kind of kicked the shit out of everybody. So like, yes, Jade was freaking Hulk smashing poor Kyrie around the entire match. It gave you everything it needed to be.
The finish was great too.
And the only thing that mattered was that finish was incredible.
That finish was incredible. Yeah.
Woman handled her and power bombed her to hell. That was a effing finish. That was an effing finish.
It was awesome. It was awesome. All right. Hey, guys, I found a video of what Awful's going to be doing tomorrow.
你好，中国，这是叫希娜。我
Oh
爱
God.
更尊重中国跟中国人。我很抱歉对我的错误。
Oh, Awful. Oh, I love you, man. Oh, man. Oh, my God. All right. Moving along here. We got another super chat to get to. Adam Wilson, I bet Tony Khan is snorting his body weight in Book of Sugar for not getting God. He was never good. He was never good. They were always going to go with Book of Sugar. I never heard that one before. All right, only one left to talk about is the main event. I want to see if we can keep our reviews of this one pretty condensed. I thought it was a good outing for Cody. AJ delivered as he always does. I thought the crowd was obnoxious during this match. Singing and just this is when I really got annoyed. But I thought this was a strong showing for Cody as champion. It was exactly what he needed. Mish, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I loved it, and I'm gonna have to be that naysayer even with my guys too. I love the crowd singing along with it. It's a fanfare we don't normally get with AJ Styles, and in this match, it kind of added to it. It felt very foreign to us as American wrestling fans watching it, but overall, I don't know, it was a solid match through and through. The fact that AJ Styles came through on multiple occasions, even like I was kind of talking about earlier, where it almost felt like he had the opportunity to win and clinch this thing, was the point of the match, because nobody expected Cody to lose this title. Nobody thought that Cody was just going to have the belt after WrestleMania for 1 month. So you had to do something. You had to have some reason to make AJ a believable challenger, and this match proved it. They told the story in the ring. There was more than a few times where Cody was on the ropes. Cody looked like he was ready to go out, and AJ didn't get a chance to complete it. The crowd getting invested in this was all the more fun. I really enjoyed it from beginning to end.
Yeah, solid main event. Phil?
So solid main event, exactly. As far as the crowd goes, so I'm down with it. I don't know, I like soccer. Also UFC spent the last few years breaking open this market, and the Paris crowds are considered among one of the best for MMA events as well. They were crazy. I knew what to expect,
Really?
especially with the wrestling crowd. To me, I thought it pretty much Mish just summed it up perfectly. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't know, it was solid, and it just got Cody over. And like you guys said way at the start of this review, we knew who was going to win, but that wasn't the whole point of it. It was just get everybody, just polish Cody up, make him look like a good champion. And there was that little hint of, is he injured coming into this because of the Mello match?
Right.
I thought it went over well, and I thought we were going to get some Bray Wyatt action after.
Yes.
Because Bray had released some code, and then when you call the number, it happened during the pay-per-view, or maybe it was before and I'm just stupid, but during the pay-per-views when I discovered it, and you call the number and there's some voice being saying some weird stuff, and it sounded like Alexa Bliss. And then I thought there was still a good chunk of time at the end of the pay-per-view, and it was Cody just celebrating. Now I thought for sure the lights were going to go out and we were going to get fireflies, maybe a little Uncle Howie. Didn't happen. I was not disappointed. The whole event flew by, and the crowd being so hot just kept me invested in everything the whole time. Great match.
Uncle Howie?
Is that what I called him?
I think you meant
Howie
called his
Long,
Uncle Howie.
Howie Long.
Howie
Yeah, sorry,
Mandel.
Howie Mandel's coming
Howie
out to fucking
Mandel,
top
Howie
that.
Mandel.
And
Uncle Howie's coming over, guys. Don't shake his hand. He's a
Yeah.
germaphobe. Also,
that's
they were in
my bad.
Lyon, not Paris. But I got what you.
Yeah,
were
okay.
saying.
I keep saying that, and everyone keeps correcting me on my podcast as well, and that is my bad. I keep saying Paris. That is because UFC spent so much time in there, and that's why that's stuck in my head. But it is Lyon, France. You guys are right, and that's my bad, and I will correct myself in the future. But they're not there anymore, so too bad.
Awful. Are you able to give your thoughts on this match without causing an international incident?
Yes.
Okay.
He is.
I believe you. I believe in you.
He is phenomenal. La 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 la.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying, and I was just like, I got a question for anybody who's ever worked in professional wrestling. Does that distract? Does that take away from the match? Because it seemed like AJ and Cody were both annoyed, and they were trying to work the crowd in Lyon, France, to get them to move away from those chants, especially the burning hammer into the 1 count. It was just like, oh, that's done with a purpose. They want the crowd out of that mindset, like you're just going to take over the entire match.
I saw Cody get a 1 count at one point, and I'm like, I wonder if he got a 1 count just to, like, not get the
Right.
chant. He's just tired
Exactly.
of it.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing. And then, of course, everybody online was just like, oh my God, he kicked out at 1 on a burning hammer. Okay, yeah, we've seen motherfuckers stand up on a Canadian destroyer right after.
Yeah.
So I mean, no big deal on
And
that.
give another
end.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Kev, what do you got on this one?
I know I guess apparently the crowd is pretty divisive, but I don't know, man. If I'm AJ Styles and I got 10,000 people singing that I am phenomenal, I don't think there is a greater moment of affirmation than that. AJ of course looks phenomenal. Again, I think, what did Cody say? What did Cody call him? What did he say? God, I can't remember what he said AJ should be called. But yeah, I'm pissed because AJ has gotten all these achievements, and it's really been a very short amount of time. And the only thing you sit here and say is, I really hope he gets at least one more title reign.
Right.
To kind of drive it home. I really listen. You are really hard pressed to find someone legitimately more impressive than AJ Styles. This guy has done it all wherever he goes. This was a very cool match to see, especially if you are a history buff, right? The 2 guys to hold the WWE title and the NWA title won at it. It was cool that they actually addressed it. Again, I really think that the kicking out at 1 on the burning hammer was just to kind of do something different, because you do have to remember, although they are working in front of an international crowd, TV is for an international crowd, too.
Yeah.
So they know who they're working for everybody everywhere. But they also know that your American audience who doesn't see stuff like this often, especially in the WWE, they're going to have that holy shit, Cody just kicked out at 1 moment, because the story of the match was this was Cody's match to lose, but Cody also couldn't afford to lose. He had to win because AJ is just that good. So it gave you something a little different, and it's it's one of those, like, guys, stop looking into it too much and just enjoy the fucking thing.
One of my favorite fans doing something the wrestlers don't expect most. Remember that SummerSlam where it was like Triple H and Eugene, and they were in Canada, and the crowd completely turned on Eugene, and just they tried to do it during the Undertaker's match too, and they started doing these weird chants and the wave, and the Undertaker got up and turned and looked at the crowd, and they all shut up. Do you remember that?
Go back and watch SummerSlam 98. Just before Austin comes to the ring, Undertaker's standing there, and some guy, he says something or he threw something. I don't remember which one it was. But Undertaker snaps his head and goes, "Motherfucker, what'd you say?" And you see the entire side of the arena freeze. They fucking freeze and stop something because they're terrified. And like it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Being able every chance I'd say just work tonight, pull it up on Peacock, SummerSlam '98, just before Austin.
Yeah. All right. So moving away from the pay-per-view, I wanted to bring up if I can get Roddy Piper's ghost here to hold up my current book that I'm reading. Just got this the other day. Hold on, here it comes.
Oh, what are you reading?
Hey, time now, Hot Rod.
Don't call me
that
fake.
Is don't call me
yes,
don't call me a fake. The David Schultz story. This is a 460 something page book.
Jeepers.
I'm so excited. I've only gotten through like the first couple chapters, but I am so excited to dig in. I mean, oh man. And that brings us to our Dave Schultz promo of the week, folks. Everyone's favorite segment of the show. We got a new promo from Schultz, and here we go. All right, hold on. I'm going to kill my camera so I can share my screen. And we've got a new promo. Now, this one's great because it's got not just Schultz, okay, but Roddy Piper as well.
Nice.
Oh, this one
of the best.
Champion, the incredible Hulk Hogan, the challenger, out of the direction of Roddy Piper. My guest at this time is Dr. David Schultz. Big opportunity for you, Doctor.
You know, it's a big opportunity for me. You're right. This is a furthest north this southern country boy has ever been. I heard about the North. I heard of...
Look at Piper. Look at Piper. This, he speaks not one word in this entire promo. He just keeps going, oh yeah, oh yeah.
This is a furthest north this southern country boy has ever been. I heard about the North. I heard about the Yankees from my daddy and my granddaddy. And none of them like...
I heard about them Yankees from my daddy and my granddaddy. Oh, God. He's so perfect.
None of them liked him because there's never been a good one. He said the only good Yankee is a dead Yankee. Now, I've got to agree so far.
Jesus.
Now, Hulk Hogan, I know Boston.
Piper does like, and he has the cross of the arms over the chest.
Hulk Hogan, I know Boston is kind of special to you because I did some checking on you. That's right.
Now, the last time he said I did some checking on you, he said that Jerry Lawler had AIDS. You got a disease, boy. You got a disease, and they call it AIDS. So let's see what he checked on for Hulk Hogan.
Because I did some checking on you. That's right. He's a Yankee because you come across on the water, boy. You come across on the water, but you wouldn't hear that your mama got on a boat with 18 sailors, and when they hit Boston, baby, you was born. It took them 9 months to get here. You was born, so you don't even know who your daddy is.
What the hell?
That's awesome.
He's saying that 18 sailors ran a train out of Mrs. Hulk Hogan. You believe Mama Hogan? He loves to go for the mothers. He remember last week with the Sergeant Slaughter's mother and Mean Gene's mother and Mean Gene's father being a cuck.
He had no upbringing.
He's what?
It's easy heat. War man.
Yeah. And you got the world title around that waist. Well, I'm going to take the world title from you because we don't need no illegitimate person wearing the world title.
We don't need no illegitimate person wearing the world's title.
Awesome.
Oh, I got to hear that one.
Who your daddy is.
And Mean Gene's daddy stands on the side of the bed and watches Sergeant Slaughter's daddy bang his mom.
Piper's trying not to corpse.
Wearing the world title. That's I like it too.
What the hell did Piper say?
Andre the Giant.
That's what I like to do. Is that what he said?
Oh my God.
That's what I like to do. All right, Piper.
Mean Gene. Well, Andre the Giant is standing by.
Good. I'm afraid Dr. D. David Schultz is not going to give me an autograph anytime soon. Every time I watch one of his promos.
Oh God, I love him so much. John JID 999 says them ancient mysteries, Yankees.
Yeah.
Here's a question. I was thinking about this the other day because the timing of everything. Now, Schultz slaps John Stossel like as WrestleMania 1 is like approaching. Now, I don't know about the timing if they had already announced things for WrestleMania 1, but do you think if the Stossel slap never happened, is it Piper and Schultz against Hogan and T? What do you guys think?
It's better than Orndorff and
yeah,
Piper.
because Orndorff kind of comes out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there in the book yet. Mish, what do you think about that?
I know it could be. I'm man, the Stossel thing really did change a lot for the direction of wrestling. It almost didn't it almost endanger WrestleMania 1 in a way, or wasn't that kind of the way that they said it? I don't know.
No,
if you would have him
it
up
was
against.
so it was there's a situation where the Stossel thing happened during the show. Now at that show, they were having Schultz go up against Antonio Inoki in the main event at MSG. So the guy was a bona fide main eventer in WWF.
Right.
Mhm.
And so the Stossel thing happened, and then there was another thing that happened like shortly thereafter, where Schultz claims that he got into a conversation with Mr. T, and when people saw him talking to Mr. T, they like flooded in and like got him out of there and then fired him. Hogan claims that Schultz slapped Mr. T, which I don't think is what happened.
And then Piper and T had problems too, right? So
Oh, big time, yeah, big time.
yeah. So
I mean, that's to put it mildly.
Piper talked about it a couple times. So
Yeah. But yeah, what could have been had the Dr. Dave Schultz not been fired. But what's funny is they talked about like Hogan was on a talk show shortly after the Stossel incident, and he puts the host in a sleeper hold and legitimately knocks him unconscious.
yeah, Richard Belzer.
Yeah, Richard
he dropped
Belzer.
him
Yeah,
on his
Belzer.
side, and then the back of his head was split. You could see the blood leaking like immediately when he gets up, and he just cuts to commercial break. And he ended up suing Hogan and the WWF for that. They paid him off, and he bought like a chateau somewhere in France. He has like a house in France that he calls like Shea Hogan or Chateau Hogan or something like that.
is it?
That's great.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now, obviously nothing's gonna happen to Hogan.
No, and it was like heading into WrestleMania. Like, what were they going to do? WWE would have paid anything to just sort of smooth that over. And then after, the funniest thing is Hogan's on the show, and then the producer comes out and he's like explaining himself, sort of. Well, what we do, brother, is really, dude, it's really real what we do out there, and I just put him in what's known as a front chin lock. I don't know, man. It's kind of frightening actually when you watch it back, but I don't know. Belzer got a house out of it, so he just kind of laughs about it to this day. So
For
at least he's
sure.
a sport. Yeah.
Without that
Neckbeards
slap
has a
that
good
Dave
point.
Schultz gives, go ahead, Neckbeards.
He says no way Schultz would have worked with Mr. T. I agree.
Yeah, he would have shot on him in the
It
ring.
wasn't gonna happen. Yeah.
I think Schultz would have been the greatest heel of the 80s. He would have surpassed Roddy Piper in that regard had he not slapped John Stossel.
I mean, he was. I mean, Vince was all about him. So he seemed to be Vince's go. He's working at Noki and MSG in the main event. Then, by the way, you and Kumia, Belzer isn't laughing. He's dead.
Oh, did he pass? Did he pass?
So there you go, Phil.
Shit, give me the
Way to go.
All right,
Way to go,
Belzer, man.
Cancel culture is now coming after you. Good job.
That's the
Me and
closest
Aqua
thing I
in
had.
the same boat, man. We'll be issuing apologies tomorrow.
Yep, you guys both.
你好，中
We'll
国
be in
这条
Mandarin.
溪呢，我爱更。
Sorry, I had to get it one more time. Comedy comes in threes. Before we end for this week, we got one more thing. Okay, so this is something I saw on Twitter, and I was like, my jaw hit the floor because it is probably the biggest waste of money I've ever seen a wrestling company go through. Let's see, share screen and there and X.
If this is Jenna Lewis versus Charmel, I'm going to be real pissed.
It is not.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Belzer died last year, I guess. So R.I.P., bruv. Well, you
Riho. Riho says she made over
Oh,
60
yeah,
million yen,
Riho.
$400,000 in AEW last year on TV.
Man.
The amount of money that this man spends on people that he will never see a dime back from. Like,
yeah, I mean,
how much money realistically did Riho's presence bring in for AEW? Because if she's making $400,000, you better hope she made $4,001 for that company.
Can I ask you guys something? What do you think they pay all of NXT if you had to? I don't know if it's public, but what do you think they pay all of NXT? Let's just think about that for a second.
Gosh.
Kevin,
I feel like you might know this.
Depending on your status, you may have a starting salary of $48K. It can go all the way up to maybe like $80K. Some people got very special exceptions, but they're not paying them a lot.
And let's say you're like the Good Brothers who get cycled through there, so maybe that might increase the average. So let's even be generous and go like, how many people are on the roster there? How many? What did you say, Awful? 5 million. Let's say they're spending 5 million on NXT per year on salaries, just salaries. What, dude? That's not even like that's like a third of one of the $1 contracts. Do you know? And what's the return on that? NXT is beating, touching, tickling them, in my opinion, beating Dynamite in the ratings. The way they build up to their main events, it is crazy. Riho's clearing $400K. I think she's been on TV 4 times last year. What the hell is going on? To me?
That's insane.
Insane. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And not even shitting on Rio. I'm not even.
Go get your money.
You know what? Good for her. Go for her. Get that bag.
Yeah.
Go get your
Take his
bag.
money.
Yeah, and I don't.
Take his money all
doesn't
you
trigger
want.
me like that. She's little, and people go, "Oh, she's frilly." I'm just like, whatever. It's ninja shit. It doesn't trigger me that much. This is my whole thing with her is that she's not even on TV.
Ninja
Yeah, dude.
shit,
I don't know,
Bill.
like little stealthy. That.
Oh my goodness. Oh
，crouching
然后中国就是叫希腊，我爱更尊重中。
Bill tomorrow.
Oh,
My
shit.
goodness.
Oh my goodness! Hey, I said ninja. He's apologizing to China there. I don't. But hey,
Oh
anyways,
man,
though.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I can make the brain smasher joke. If my sister thinks you're a goddamn ninja, then you're a goddamn ninja.
Guys, Phil might just be a juggalo. We don't know. It's
Yeah.
just
That's true.
I better stop before
Which
Grace
mean-
Randolph comes in here and starts.
Which means that it means that every time that Superhuman jumps off of something, he does it for Phil Marks.
Yeah.
oh.
It's for all the juggalos and juggalettes. Don't try this
Yeah,
at home, and
man.
I hope you like it. Whoop whoop.
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
he looks like Wheeler Yuta's little brother. You know what I mean?
Oh my
so,
god!
So here's the thing.
But I
with
love
Rio.
it. I can't get enough of him. I can't stop watching this kid hurt himself. I don't know why. I'm like fascinated by it. I'm like, why isn't anyone stopping him? Then I'm like, because these videos probably make money.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
he's
Who's holding the camera too? His mom
Oh,
or something?
boy.
Like jeepers, you gotta fucking stop
Exactly.
your kid here. He's but Rio. Speaking of making money, Rio's making all the money. I'm not going to hate on it, but ultimately it is ludicrous. And then it came out today, roughly, Dave sort of stooged essentially that AEW like pays Wembley to host the show there. And
Of course they do.
The mayor of London saying, I'm going to make sure WrestleMania comes here, which means they're going to bid a premium for it for WrestleMania down the line. And so it just shows you the levels to this. And I tweeted that out. People melted down and went crazy because I simply just pointed this out. And
What they pay Wembley? They definitely pay. They pay
for
every
sure,
building they go
just, but people, they're trying to flex like, oh, well, they made 15 million gates so far on the 50,000 tickets sold or whatever the number is. And it's like, but they're paying Rio $400K. Okay. They're paying like,
right.
And then NXT's beating them in the rating. I don't care what anyone says. AEW's Dynamite's a TV show. They care about the TV ratings. And these are the numbers that they want to tout, which I fucking hate that word, but those are the numbers they tout.
Has NXT actually beat them?
So, well, if you look at, so they, on average, quote unquote, they didn't beat them when the Big Bang, if we had the numbers, you would see like, because of the Big Bang's lead in, AEW finished with like a 791 average, But realistically, there was like 650,000 people watching the show. There was like 629 by the end of the show, whereas NXT started with like 500,000 people watching it. And by the end of the show in the main event with Trick Williams winning the title, they had 740,000 people watching it. So who won those? Who won? What's the objective of the TV show? You want everyone to jump off a cliff and die before the fucking main event? Or do you want like the main event, Trick Williams is on TV winning the title and it's the highest peak viewership and it climbed the whole show? That's a W in my
I think it was only 703,000 average for AEW this last week.
Yes,
That's
it was
horrible. And that's all I'm saying. They want to throw the numbers. Let's talk about the numbers, you know?
Yeah. Well, look, here's the thing. When the numbers are good, Tony throws himself a party. So don't tell me the numbers don't matter if you're going to celebrate them when they're good. If when the numbers are good, he's like, oh, you know, they don't really matter though. You know, it's nice, but whatever. That's one thing. But when the numbers are good, he practically throws himself a parade. So
Right.
Don't
and who's
tell me the numbers don't
400K
matter.
in fucking NXT? Nobody. Rio's getting 400K. She's been on TV 4 times. Crazy. Sorry.
Right.
Someone else go ahead.
$100,000 a match, if that's the case. Now, I saw a tweet that said that she wrestled 10 times that year. So that's 40, even still, that's $40,000 every goddamn match. A Cabbage Patch Kid in the middle of an AEW ring wrestling for $40,000 a match. Incredible. Yeah. Incredible.
Yep. All right.
He doesn't know the value of his talent. I think that's the biggest problem that Tony Khan has. I mean, talking about marketing earlier, talking about storylines earlier, another big albatross to the entire AEW company is that Tony can't value his own talent. He's paying people like Riho, who, if she only had 4 matches or 10 matches, it doesn't matter, is a ridiculous sum of money for someone who's virtually untested in this market and hasn't really done anything on screen to make her valuable. I was told once upon a time that if what a promoter pays you, they expect at least double in return. So if they're paying Riho $400,000 for her contract, then that means Tony Khan should be expecting a minimum of $800,000 to $1 million.
It's just laughable.
Revenue based upon just her assets alone.
Her 4 matches. In 4 matches, she's going to make $1 million for the company.
Yeah, well, 10. I guess it's 10. Someone correct. It's just I was being, cynical.
No, you were being
exaggerative. But
yeah, I got you, dude. Either way, it's still a ridiculous amount of money for someone who's not even drawing in a quarter of what she's getting paid.
Well, we got to remember she's an OG. That means the EVP hired her, right? And she's, so it's that was.
Kenny loves her.
Yeah, so that was, all right. I need to get my schoolgirl fetish going, and I'm gonna get her paid top dollar.
All right,
let's AJ Francis.
Let's switch to some positive here. I want to talk about the 2 matches from Raw that were just amazing. That was Dragunov and Ricochet and Sheamus Gunther. Both awesome for different reasons too. So let's start. I thought that in my opinion, Dragunov right now might be the best wrestler in the world. Bar none. Like Will Ospreay, he is so good. So good. I agree. Mish, what do you think about him?
Man, I would love to join in on the bandwagon with that, but he has early Daniel Bryan vibes. And I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way, but when you think back to like the Tough Enough days where he was like under the learning tree of the Miz, like that's kind of the feel I have with Dragunov. Even though he's very tested in NXT and he's developed himself as a star, I still think he's missing the key points as a wrestler. I don't think his promos are very good at all. I don't think his charisma is there. I think in time it will be. This is something that he has to learn on the main roster, the same way that Daniel Bryan did. But as far as the in-ring work, as far as being a technician, as far as being a solid wrestler, a solid old school type of wrestler too, I get visions of guys like Regal and Finley when I see Dragunov out there. I'm very impressed by the guy. But to call him the greatest in the world, I don't know. Not yet. But he is absolutely going to be that guy that will break through that ceiling. I think he needs a solid run. I think he's going to be a solid babyface. It's going to be very simple for him to be. And starting off even on Monday night with his match against Ricochet, fantastic.
Amazing.
Everything you could possibly want in a real debut match. It was wonderful. It kicked off the King of the Ring. Him and Ricochet went back and forth. Got even a little bit of color in there, which is great. And it even finished with a very believable handshake type thing. So
he even did the rapid fire chops, but it looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
It looked good.
He actually chopped him. He didn't chop his own chop.
Yeah, he wasn't hitting himself like Eddie Kingston. He was actually hitting the man. But
I think Dragunov is a guy for the future. If this is him and Carmelo and Trick and a lot of these new generation guys coming up, Braun, like I think there's a solid future ahead of WWE. When I see their new talent, their new crop coming in there, I get excited. I really think that WWE is trying something new. They have their visions on these people for a long time, even with people like Jade. Like there is a direction that this company wants to go. And I'm all for it. And I'm happy. I'm happy not knowing where they're going. It doesn't feel like in the Vince era, especially towards the end there, where it's like whoever got called up, you were almost afraid. You were almost afraid when guys like Cross got called up and they put him in a Trojan commercial. You know, it's like, this guy's better than that. What are you doing? But now it feels like they have a better idea of what they want their talent to be. They're hyper-focused. You got Sean down there who completely gets what the next generation of talent should be like. Triple H has nothing but faith in him. He just gave him a promotion a few months ago or a couple months ago. Like everything seems to be working on all cylinders. Dragunov being on the main roster is an absolute must. He's an absolute future, but I won't give him the best in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably talking out of my ass with that one. I mean, look, like I was just saying, I think he is just phenomenal. I really think he's amazing. I really do. But yeah, best in the world might have been a bit of an overstatement on my part. I got a little too excited by that.
That's all right. It's your show. Get excited, buddy.
Yeah. Kevin Apollo. Did you watch this match?
Dude, listen, when I saw the card on Saturday, I was like, Triple H is going for that Booker of the Year shot pretty early. He decided to make the King of the Ring opening round pretty effing cool. I mean, if Asuka wasn't hurt, we would also be talking about Asuka and what's her name?
Kairi Sane?
No, Valkyria, whatever the hell his name is.
Oh, Lyra Valkyrie.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we would have been talking about three matches instead of two. The Ricochet and Ilya was everything it needed to be. It was an old school black and gold super indie. Everybody screaming their asses off. My favorite shot. Well, and you know what? My favorite thing about the match was an actual false finish. We talked not the board, but so like, why do wrestlers have finishers? So that you have a story to tell in your match. That is it. Heels have submissions because usually you need an empathy point for the babyface. Babyfaces do something explosive that they can hit at any time, so that when they escape, pop, the heel can drop at any moment, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" They lose their mind. We go into whatever he calls his finish. Ricochet's down. He sets it up in the corner. It was for if I've never seen one of his matches, I now know how he sets up his finish. I know how he's going to do it. I know what it's going to look like. And when you go in there and he gets the big cutoff with the knees, awesome. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome storytelling. Awesome finish. Again, awesome. It's just awesome. Then I'm not going to jump ahead to Gunther.
Awful. Did you watch this one?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ilya Dragunov. I think
come on,
Apple.
But you like Grace Randolph.
Yeah, come on,
God.
you motherfucker.
So they're going to beat this dead horse of Grace Randolph. But no. He's great in ring. His entrance leaves a lot to be desired. That hand waving motion bullshit. Like no one's getting into that whole scene there. Like you're not an old style conductor or anything like that. That's the only thing I've got a problem with Ilya. I also see him in like 5 years being like one of those wrestlers where it's just like, okay, everybody knows who you are, but you're jobbing tonight. I don't see him getting that far with his size, and you know, he's got to cut a good promo. If he can do that, then he can break through. Other than that, I see him as a utility player that is just going to be in the company for the next 15, 20 years, probably end up be a trainer. And that's how I see Ilya Dragunov's career being.
Oh, all right, Phil Marks, what do you got? I think probably not something as harsh as that.
Yeah, dude, no. So Ricochet really deserves his flowers too. He's selling his ass off. Yes. The German suplex on the outside, the backflip landing, tremendous. Dragunov as well. He brings a certain tenacity, intensity in there, a realism. Someone brought up the afterwards they did the handshake. That was very real. It seemed very like after an MMA fight when the other guy helps the other guy up and they are kind of still standoffish, but are like, yeah, I respect you, you respect me, let's go, we can go right now again if you want. Like, it was sort of that thing. I really, really liked that. And man, the King of the Ring tournament, just the round one itself, I think.
Yeah.
It just was awesome. And yeah, this match was great. The one thing I will say, they were setting up that Hurricane Rana off the top. And that was a little like, I don't know, you got to be quicker about that. You got to do a little more of like, there's looked a little communicate-y, but that's me nitpicking right there. Everything else is great. I love both these guys tremendously. And then, fuck you, Awful. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't think he'll just be a trainer. I think he has a big career. He's about to go against Gunther. We'll see him fight Sheamus. We'll see him fight all these.
That's what I want to see. I really want to see him go up against these bigger guys because Elijah's proven himself down in NXT up against big guys before. And while we can put him in there with Ricochet week to week, and you can pretty much pair him up against guys his size, I think when people really appreciate him is when he's going up against the monsters. And that's where I want to see this Goliath go up against, or this David go up against more Goliaths.
Right, absolutely. And then speaking of Goliaths, we had a Battle of the Titans in the end, a match that always delivers, but really, really, really delivered now when Gunther and Sheamus closed this out. And what a hoss fight. Just two men hitting each other. I mean, it was fantastic. And the psychology of the match, Gunther working the knee, ripping off the knee pad the way he did, it was perfect. I loved this match. Kevin Apollo, you loved this match. I can tell.
Oh, I love this. It's big, beefy men slapping meat, brother. I love it. It's why I watch wrestling. It gave me everything.
Slapping meat hotter than awful wrestling during a Grace Randolph video.
That noise. What is that slapping
noise? We have probably accidentally given her more attention than she
I know
this week.
I know. So, back to Gunther.
He's cutting back into her super chats this week. But storytelling, man. They kicked the shit out of each other like we knew they were going to. Gunther, we have made Gunther extremely entertaining by not letting him be entertaining. He is just a bad ref who likes to fight people, and is just in it for the brutality and the sake of the sport. Sheamus is another guy. I just want to fight people. They did it. We stopped Sheamus by going after the knee. You watch brutality set in, and then Sheamus taps, and Sheamus never taps. And now, again, this is just talking about Cody. One of the things that are going to be that's going to be very precarious for Cody is it's always tough giving a baby face after they've been in the chase for a long time, giving them credible heels that can match up to the heel who the babyface took the belt off of. And Gunther is on his way to being that threat for Cody. He needs a little more time, but he's on his way there. And when you see matches like this, it is obvious the future is looking pretty fucking good.
Awful. If you hated this match, I swear to God. Come on back.
I enjoyed the match. I mean,
all right. I was about to be like, what does it take? What does it take to please you?
Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, SummerSlam 1990.
God.
But
that's the bare minimum, folks. That better.
God. I'll be here all week. But yeah, listen, it's gonna be it was a great match. I enjoy, obviously it takes you back to the 80s, that style. It's actually kind of like NWA-ish type of vibe when Gunther and Sheamus get into the ring with each other. It
was a mid-south. It was like a mid-south match. Just hitting, just physicality.
Yeah.
You there?
Memphis.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? We'll Phil, what did you think of this one?
Man, I loved it so much. I love Gunther. I think he's one of the best in the world, if not like one of the guys I'm the most interested in. I love those real head knocker guys like Gunther, Samoa Joe, and Sheamus, a guy who I really wasn't into for a lot of years, for a long time, who's really won me over, especially as of late. Like, I know he's been gone a little while, but I don't know, man. I was so hyped that he's back, and this match just knocked it out of the park. Shout out the 4 neckbeards in the crowd who were trying to get a meat chant going that didn't quite work out during the match. And I enjoyed it, man. King of the Ring. That was the first round, guys. So next round, I just can't wait.
Yeah.
Mish, it felt
like
it was, man, it was just designed to be a better King of the Ring when you set it up with, Ricochet and Dragunov and Sheamus and Gunther to start the whole thing off. Just to reiterate, meat on meat violence. That is what I want to see in my matches. And I totally agree with you, Phil. Sheamus was one of those guys for a majority of the career. It was like, time to, I don't know, do something else, open the fridge, look somewhere else. I want to say it's so weird that Sheamus finally got it during the pandemic when he started having his back and forths with Drew and they were killing each other in front of nobody. It was amazing. And ever since then, Sheamus with the Brutes, like he's kind of developed what he is, what he wanted to be as a wrestler. And now he's kind of a badass. And, as far as Gunther going, that he's a stoic, he's better stoic. Like he did kind of cut promos not too long ago, which were a little awful. But keep him stoic, and he's very good at that. Sheamus, on the other hand, doesn't have to be stoic. He's got the look. He can look at the audience. He can make winks and nods, and people enjoy him for it. He's charismatic. Dude, even when people were flooding him with fat jokes just a couple weeks ago, he leaned into it and made fun of it and made fun of himself. Like, the guy is truly likable as a babyface. And then on top of it, you put these two behemoths in a ring against each other and just say kill, and it's everything you could ever possibly want from two big men. It was a fantastic match all the way through. I think absolutely rewatchable.
I think Gunther loves wrestling him because that pale lily white flesh it so perfectly encapsulates his massive handprints.
Oh yeah. Sheamus bruises awfully good, don't he? Like,
a minute into the match, and he was just nothing. He was nothing but hands. It was insane.
Yeah, I saw a meme of Sheamus's skin with Gunther's handprint on it, and then underneath it was like Wilson.
That's great.
All right, before we end, I just got one more clip to play. Just very, very quick little clip here. Then we will be getting off to bed. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well.
There she is, folks.
She's making it stop. I'm sorry.
Jesus. It's
that should be like a game where like you have to like see how long you can watch that video. If you can make the full like 44 seconds, you win. But like, good Lord. Awful. What do you see in this, really? Come on.
You would. Don't lie.
He's muted.
He's muted.
I was in my novice days of movie critiquing and reviews. So
boy.
I can't believe
more.
We
every
spent
week
so much time talking about crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we should have been talking
Right.
about Mass Effect. Come on.
Speaking of which, this Thursday night, tentatively, Mr. Kevin Apollo and I might be taking to the airwaves here on Tooney Town Wrestling to do the first episode of Tooney Talk TV, which will be TV and movies and comics and anything. And anybody that wants to join in can join in. But I know that we have been planning to do that for a while. And I've been definitely bitten by the bug since I've been doing a couple guest shots on WWE Pro's channel. And definitely been wanting to talk about that stuff as well. But don't worry, it's never gonna impact the wrestling talk. That's always gonna be here. All right, Awful Wrestling, thank you for being here tonight. As always, you are a valued member.
No
Please
problem.
tell them where they can find you on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or don't.
/awful wrestling.
Okay. Twitter.com/awful wrestling. Kevin Apollo, you got an ACW show coming up?
Yes, I will be at the Boulders Stadium, or rather say, I'll be at the Rockland Boulders Clover Stadium June 2nd. So that's a big show for us. And then you can catch us at the Crystal Run at Galleria at the Crystal Run in Middletown, New York, July 13th. I think Fandango's going to be there. I don't remember.
Ooh. Oh, very good. Very
Dirty
good. All right,
Danga.
Phil, where can we find you?
You guys already know, man. I'm at Pro Wrestle Times. I'm at Pro Wrestle Clips. I try to upload daily to each channel. Check me out there.
And Mish, our special guest, thank you so much for joining us again this week. You are the first 2-time recurring guest here.
Oh, man.
Thank you. So tell us a bit about where we can find you in all of your wonder.
Wrestling Soup, been on for just celebrating 14 years. You can find us at WrestlingSoup.com. We also are live every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and then Fridays around 3:30 Eastern time for the Frank and Gus show, which is similar to what you guys are going to be doing, where we kind of talk off the cuff. Not usually wrestling, just random shit. Like this week, in passing, we were talking about the new trend in fashion where people pee their pants and pay.
What?
Yeah, no, peed in pants, pissed in pants is a new fashion trend, and I think the prices were $600 a pair.
Oh,
so I'm not even enraged by this. I'm just sad.
That's
That's what happens to Awful when he talks about thinks about Grace Randolph.
Right, exactly. Just
Start selling them,
nonstop
Awful.
violent
Start
urination.
Please stop. He's already dead.
This poor horse is beaten.
Yeah, you can follow us at Wrestling Soup on X, Twitter, and we just did a documentary. Joey AI did a documentary talking about
great.
The wrestling fantasy buffet of Tony Khan, and it was a very fun little docu that we did, and it's very insightful by Joey. Joey wrote the article, and I produced it. But
awesome, yeah.
It's actually my very first production, video wise. I've been doing radio audio for years, but it was the very first time I ever delved into making a YouTube video on that level, and I think it was enjoyable.
That's great.
So,
that's great.
much love.
All right.
Thank you very much, guys, for having me on 2 times.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, anytime you want to come on, you just let me know when, and I will make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. And guys, for me, just remember the patreon.com/TooneyTown Wrestling. You get song parodies 3 days early, face lock features 2 days early, exclusive content like the director's commentaries and reaction videos. Also gonna be doing some match reactions and live streams there as well. Tomorrow, check here on Tooney Town Wrestling, the new song parody, Book a Man, set to Billy Joel's Piano Man, will be dropping in the morning. So get ready for that. All right, folks. Well, hold on. We got one more super chat. I'll Jake. Ow, my freaking ears. I believe that was from Grace.
Shout out, all Jake.
Yep. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. For Kevin Apollo, for Awful Wrestling, for Phil Marks, for Mish. I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here.